Hello, hello. Hey, Nui. How's it going? And happy Monday. So today we are going to be using Rust. I actually don't even know what the title of my stream is. I made it yesterday instead of today. Let's learn Rust. Okay, that sounds good. Sure. So Adam may compile a list of technologies that he'd like to learn while going through his job hunt. Rust is just one of those technologies. Look at that. Change one word. Adam's been interested for a while. He's continuing to go through the getting started guide. Okay, so he's never touched Rust before. So he'll go through some beginner resources today. There's no real goal. Doesn't know what kind of project he'd make or test Rust with. If there would even be a project after learning the basics. He may just move on with another technology to learn on the next stream. Yeah, so this is pretty good. Copying what Rima does. What does Rima do? Set the title up the day before. Also glad to hear that you're doing fine. Hey Thoros. I have one thing I need to remember today. So it is currently 8:41 and I have an interview at noon. So I have to be done by noon. Hopefully I realize that. If not, there's going to be a problem here. I should probably charge my phone too. Yeah, I should probably set some kind of timer or something. Oh, Ryan was also learning Rust. I see. Yeah, actually, he had mentioned that. Hey, Sinu. So I need some kind of online timer. I think this will make a loud sound, though. I don't want it to make a sound. I don't know. Put Rust here. Thanks, Cresitor. Or Cresitor. How do you pronounce your name? Rust. So make sure I make it to the interview at noon. I'm just going to put this here a bunch of times. And then we'll say, figure out some beginner resources. Now, almost every language nowadays has a getting started guide. So Rust Lang. All I did is download it. Again, I just want to make sure I've always gone through whatever terms of service they have. They have get started here. And does this say how to learn about it? Generating a project, adding dependencies, a small Rust application, learn more. Okay, yeah. So we're just going to go through this, I suppose. And I should probably add a new thing here. Yeah. There we go. All right, I don't think I'm going to delay. Normally I have an intro that's like 20 minutes and we just talk about stuff. And we'll still talk about stuff, but I think I'm going to dive into Rust. Graduation paper tomorrow. It's stress time right now. Well, I could write documentation. You can, but I mean, I guess it does take some time to learn. And if you got your graduation paper tomorrow, that might not be a thing you can do. But good luck. Hey Smurf, hey Bokyo, what happened to Golang? So the today command kind of describes what's happening with this stuff. And what you see listed there for Rust, you pretty much just swap out Rust for Golang, and that's exactly the same stance. So in general, I'm just learning a bunch of different technologies. That's going to be the focus for the next couple of weeks, probably. I don't think we're going to make courses. I don't think we're going to do many projects. I think we're just going to learn technologies. Now, that's not to say there won't be projects. I don't have it planned, really. So I did all this stuff, right? Yeah. I guess we should mark this as done. Yeah, I deployed a change to Botland yesterday. That was unusual. Haven't done that in 4 months. And by the way, that process took a long time. Man, for some reason, so I pretty much have like a button I can press that does a deploy. And it failed. And then I clicked it again and it succeeded. And I think it was some caching issue in Circle CI. But the deploy process is actually multiple processes, and all of them failed with that caching issue. So I had to keep retrying it, but I wasn't even sure it was a caching issue, and sometimes it's like multiple retries. Hey Copper, hey Segway. Here's a link to Raimu's notes. Let me see. Learning Rust. Day 1. Okay, let's see if we can beat Raimu. We got to beat his day 1. We have to take more notes than he did. Look at this. Follow up. He just put a bullet point there. Watch, we can beat this. Follow up. We have 2 bullet points now. Take that, Raimu. Ha. All right, I will keep these open. I am going to try not to refer to them just yet, though. Hey, Free Technic. Hey, Andre. Have fun with all the confusing structures of Rust. Yeah, I don't know anything about it yet, so I think we'll figure it out. So let's take a look at their getting started guide. So this is the only part that I did. I downloaded this thing, and so now I should have something called Cargo and presumably something called Rust. No, maybe it's just Cargo. Or maybe, oh, it's called Rust Up. Why they call it Rust Up? Rust Toolchain Installer. Okay. Hey, Zeradu. Okie dokie. Rust support is available in many editors. Oh yeah, I gotta go download this. This is what, the official one? Probably the official one. It's got a ton of downloads, so whatever it is, it's the one I should install. VS Code extension here. And then they have a list of all the extensions and other tools. Can we link to this? It does not have an ID. That's a shame. That's a shame. Other IDE extensions here. Generating a new project. Let's write a small application with our Rust development environment. To start, we'll use Cargo to make a project for us. In your terminal of choice, run Cargo new hello Rust. Okay? Temp learning Rust. I guess we'll make like a hello world. And what did it say? Cargo new hello world. Created binary. And so now they said if you run tree, well, you don't have to run tree, I guess, but it's what they have here. Now, what's funny is they actually made a git ignore for you. That's kind of cool. All right, yeah. So manifest file for Rust is where you keep metadata as well as dependencies, and this is where we'll write our application code. So I never actually installed the extension. I knew I forgot something. RS is the file extension for this. Then click install. Developer dev. Get some water. Okay. I don't know how mind-bending this language is going to be. This generates a hello world project for us. We can run this program by moving into the new directory and running this in our terminal. Cargo run. I mean, so far. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Never mind. Everything's broken. I'm pretty sure they're just pointing out what Cargo new hello Rust did. Was I supposed to have just make a test or anything? Am I supposed to just have done Cargo new? No. Oh, it's hello Rust. Oh, whoops. Wait. Oh, it has to have Rust at the end? Oh, or there's a subdirectory that I can go to? Sorry, I'm getting stuck on like the easiest stuff. Yeah, there is a thing underneath this. Okay, I didn't realize that. Cargo run, that should work. Yeah, whoops. Yep. Thanks, Andre. Yep. Okay, cool. So it ran and it said hello world and installed a bunch of malware probably. Okay, so adding dependencies. Well, we should probably look at that file. I doubt this file is going to be too hard to understand, but let's open it anyway. Oh my God, this is complex. Oh man. Function main print loon. Adding dependencies. Let's add dependencies to our application. You can find all sorts on crates.io, the package registry for Rust. We often refer to packages as crates. Am I missing something? What does Rust have to do with crates? I feel like there's some, like Ruby has gems, Node has modules. I don't understand that. Their package manager, or their package managing site is called crates.io. Hey, Kojin. Yeah, Rust. All right, in this project, we use a crate called Ferris says. In our cargo, we'll add this information that we got from the crate page. Oh, they don't have like an installer? They also don't have a search on it. They do. Click or press S to search. So we want Ferris says. They're up to version 2 at this point. This is just like cow say, sure. Now let's see how this sort of works. They've got the license right here. That's nice. They have a link to the GitHub here. There. Right there. Yeah, repository. Each crate has a license and potentially a link to its repository. So in this case, we could just look through all the code if we wanted to. Okay. But that's seriously how you're supposed to install these things? I guess I have a copy command on here. To install a crate, you typically go to its page and copy the text. I'll just put an arrow to this. And click this button. Well, go to the page, click the button below, and then paste into cargo.toml. Cargo install pulls into cargo run. Okay. Hey, Janord. Hey, Couch. It's weird that they don't say that here, though, because they say to just copy this over, which I'll do. Cargo.toml dependencies. Okay, looks good. Now we can run cargo build. I mean, what? Oh, after you've added it to the toml file. Oh, so I don't actually need to do build. Also, is fetching this seriously taking this long? How big is this? Whatever's got to fetch. 13 kilobytes. Hey, Redman, thanks. I have a weird rule in this channel that the first person to comment on it gets 3 points. Don't ask why, because I don't even know. Oh, a bunch of dependencies for even installing the dependencies. All right, I understand. Because, yeah, I was going to say Ferris says it's just one tiny portion of that. Audio. Is this any better? I'm going to talk a little bit quieter, but. Oh, voice was garbled. Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't like, something didn't go wrong and there was a bunch of white noise or something. Yeah, that might have just been 100% CPU usage. Yeah, okay. Yeah, as long as it's fine now. Sorry, one time a little while ago, it was the first time in 5 years I started my stream and it was just blowing everyone's ears out. I wasn't even talking. It was just whatever was coming out of the microphone was bad. So I thought something like that happened again. But yeah, as long as everything's good now. I did not actually drop frames. Like I said, I think that was just CPU usage. Okay, well, we installed the package. It took 46 seconds. You'll see that running this command creates a new file, cargo lock. Okay, so this is presumably just like how yarn lock and npm lock work. Yeah, which that's fine. Okay, log of the exact versions of dependencies we're using locally. To use this dependency, we can open main.rs and remove everything that's in there. It's just another example and add this line. This line means we can now use the say function that the Ferris say crate exports for us. Okay, I mean, so far everything we've seen is pretty reasonable. Except it says we could delete everything here. And then what? Then we're going to write the application that uses it. Okay. Hey Zersco, hey Tritus, hey Talking Guy. Am I going to continue doing stuff with Golang? Probably not. Or at least not for a while. I wanted to just cover a lot of breadth. And so I wouldn't say I know Golang at this point. Just like how at the end of this, I probably won't say that I know Rust. I think the best way to learn is to do projects. But I want to figure out how to... Okay, I know this is a long answer. I am looking for a job right now. And in the meantime, there was basically just this paralysis that was happening. So I want to get into a rhythm that involves something productive. And in order to try to kick off that rhythm, I was thinking, okay, we'll just learn stuff on stream. So that's what I was focusing on. What we'll probably eventually do is not only just learn the things, but also do projects in them at some point. Yes, you should learn Golang. I was linked to your notes. I already one-upped to you. You have an empty follow-up at the bottom. I made 2 empty follow-ups at the bottom. So that means I'm better than you. Hey, Disney. Raimo, how long did you spend on Rust? So let's write a small application with our new dependency in our main.rs at the following code. Okay, so this is how you use multiple imports, I guess. There's curly braces. So they make a standard out. They make a message, Rust stations. They get the width of that. Oh, I wonder if, so I'm just assuming things right now, but I wonder if let is const and let mute is let. Okay, let's copy this in. And then we run our application just by doing cargo run again. Hello, fellow Rust stations. I still feel like I'm missing a joke or something. This is called Ferris say, but it's a crustacean. What does Ferris have to do with a crab? Because cow say is a cow, but that makes sense. Maybe it was just made by someone. Nope. I was going to say maybe their name had Ferris in it. I'm missing something. Hey, Asmodeus. Hey, Crazy Wolf. And hey, Rust compiler. I've never had a compiler in my channel before. Hey, Cat. Hey, Pix. Use mutable, I think it stands for. Yeah, okay. It's very anti-cons, cons by default. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Okay, let's go through the... Oh, wait, there we go. Who's this crab? They did answer this. Ferris is the unofficial mascot of the Rust community. Many Rust programmers call themselves crustaceans, a play on the word crustacean. Refer to Ferris. Some name... Oh, I get it now. Every time I see the word Ferris, I think of one of two things. Ferris wheel or Ferris Bueller. Not... Yeah. Of iron. Okay. No, that's fine. Ruststation.net. There's a Rust. Here's a guy named Ferris who built an emulator. Okay, this is the lore of Rust. Hey, Drake Guru. So let's get started. Affectionately nicknamed the book, the Rust programming language will give you an overview of the language from first principles. You'll build a few projects along the way, and by the end, you'll have a solid grasp of the language. Alternatively, Rustlings guides you through downloading and setting up the Rust toolchain. Reading multiple hundreds of pages about a language in your style, Rust by example, as you covered. Multiple hundreds of pages. Which one of these is multiple hundreds of pages? Because I don't necessarily mind reading multiple hundreds of pages. Yeah, this looks fine. What about this one? Small exercises to get you used to writing. Okay. Ooh. And then the last one was what? Where'd it go? Check out Rust by example. I don't know if I opened that one up. This looks like the same one as this one. Ah, all right. Well, I should probably start up the on top replica thing because I'm already dropping frames. This might get very bad. This is pretty much what has been directly linked to my mood. The more I drop frames, the more I keep thinking I just shouldn't be streaming right now. But this is bound to happen because my internet is terrible. Oh, what? Is this turned off? What? What? Oh, click through that. Always make that the opposite. Did you go through that first book? Rust and Go, preparing for the future? Yeah, essentially. All right, I want to put a link to these things. They have 3 different paths for getting started that are listed here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with read the book. Is there anything else that... The Rustonomicon? Who made this language? Was it a person, a company? Designed by Graydon 9 years ago. Highly concurrent, highly safe systems. Okay. Hey, Riot Dev. Thanks for the raid. How'd the stream go? Welcome in. Hey, Smooth Dog. Do you have the web and game dev Rust links? No. There are web dev and game dev guides as well. All right, Freedom DAO. I'm not focusing on the politics, and I'd like it if you could stop talking about the politics. And also if you can stop segmenting your messages. So just cut it all out, basically. All right, so web dev and game dev guides. There we go. Okay, so I think we'll go through the book. And I just need to find it one more time. And then before we continue with that, let's also see what these things are. All this documentation is also available locally using RustUpDoc. Okay, let's take a look at that. What does that do? Oh, it's local. Yeah. Hey, ProSam. Okay. Guess it's nice to know about this. Anything else? Book on Rust package manager and build system. Knobs available. Yeah, I don't think we'll need this right now. So, okay, let's just get started with this. So can we enlarge this for everybody? All right, now I'm just going to time you out for this stream. You're welcome to watch. You're welcome to chat again tomorrow, but I don't think it's a good fit for right now. So we'll move on. Congrats, Price of Fame. How long did it take to get the certification? Okay, so this assumes you're using Rust 1.4 or 1.41. What are we using, and how do we even find out? We've been using Cargo to run things. Cargo, it's capital V. 144. Okay, then we're fine. Okay, see the installation section of chapter 1 to install or update Rust, and see the new appendix E for information on additions. I don't think that's going to matter right now. I just want to skim this part at least. Number of changes to reflect the improvements. Okay, good. So they're updating this stuff. Any code in earlier iterations that compiled will continue to compile. Okay. HTML format is online at here and offline with RustUpDocs. This is the same thing. Okay. Oh, cool. Price of Fame. I always thought those sorts of things would take months. Yeah. All right. How do we go to the next page? Here we go. So now this is going to go to the foreword, then the introduction, then getting started. It wasn't always so clear. Rust programming language is fundamentally about empowerment. No matter what kind of code you're writing now, Rust empowers you to reach farther. To program with confidence in a wider variety of domains than you did before. Take, for example, systems level work that deals with low-level details of memory management, data representation, and concurrency. Traditionally, this is seen as arcane, accessible only to a select few. Rust breaks down these barriers by eliminating the old pitfalls and providing a friendly, polished set of tools to help you along the way. Programmers who need to dip down into lower-level controls can do so with Rust without taking on the customary risk of crashes or security holes. Programmers who are already working with low-level code can use Rust to raise their ambitions. Introducing parallelism is a relatively low-risk operation. Okay, interesting. CLI apps, web servers. All right. Sounds pretty good so far. Did I hello world with Rust yet? Yeah, that part's done. That's about all we've done. We haven't actually gotten to any part of the guide because the hello world is before all of this. So I'm assuming all of these things down here are going to be things we've already covered. But these are kind of new. So I wanted to see how this looks. Okay, introductory book about Rust. Rust programming language helps you write faster, more reliable software. Cool. It's ideal for many people for a variety of reasons. So teams of developers, productive tool for collaborating among large teams. Low-level code is prone to a variety of subtle bugs, which in most other languages can be caught only through extensive testing and careful code review. Compiler plays a gatekeeper role by refusing to compile code with these elusive bugs. Students interested in learning about systems concepts. Companies. Okay. speed of the programs you can create and the speed at which you can write them. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So far, what it sounds like is Rust really, really wants to stop you from shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah. Oh, nice, Don. Is TypeScript still worth the time to learn if I have no plans to work with Angular? I think it's worth it to learn. I went through it in somewhere between like 10 and 15 hours, and I think I was going pretty slowly. I wouldn't say I fully learned it in all that time, but I went through all the docs in that time, which is kind of what we're doing with these languages, is really just going through the docs for now. Oh, also, do they have a... What does this do? Yeah, there we go. That looks much better. So I think it's worth it. I think JavaScript is everywhere. And so things that compile to JavaScript are now everywhere. And TypeScript is one of those things that compiles to JavaScript. Hey, AOD. It wants to shoot your foot for you. This is pretty good, Rhymo. Wants to shoot at your feet until you learn how to dance. So it assumes that you're reading this in sequence from front to back. Later chapters build on concept in earlier chapters. Cool, that's fine. Find two kinds of chapters: concept chapters and progress project. Oh my god, I can't read. So it explains how to install it, how to write a Hello World program. Okay. So I don't think we need to read that stuff. Now what is this? Ferris will also help you distinguish code that isn't meant to work. Okay. My brain just froze at this thing. Perhaps can't do that. So the code doesn't compile, this code panics, this code block contains unsafe code, and this does not produce the desired behavior. So because every time we see Ferris, it means that the code isn't going to work. I'm not positive about that, but okay, let's see. So let's start your Rust journey. There's a lot to learn. Every journey starts somewhere. In this chapter, we'll discuss installing, writing a program, using cargo. So we already did these things, so I'm going to skim this pretty fast. Yeah. Hey, Lucifin. And by the way, the frame drop counter is at the top. If you ever think, is the stream lagging or is it just me? Just look at this number. If it increases, it is not just you. What is Rust used for? So Rust, from what I understand so far, is used for back-end programming that could either be low-level web programming. It could even be used for games sometimes, which I guess would be front-end. And it's got a lot of safety mechanisms to stop you from just going off the rails. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to skim this because I don't think there's anything too much to look at here. We already did this stuff. After you've installed it, updating the latest version is easy. Rust up update. Okay, so there are two command line tools. Rust up and cargo. Does it say specifically what this is? Command line tool for managing Rust versions. Okay, so there are two major command line tools. Rust up, which is for... Might as well just do it this way. This helps manage... Do I do this in every single node? This helps manage Rust version and associated tools. And then cargo, this is for everything else. Installing packages, running code, etc. One chapter per hour. Gotcha. Our goal with this entire thing is just to beat Raimu. And if you don't know, Raimu's name stands for Rust Haimu. So he had prepared for this. But we're going to show him. We are going to show him. So did they mention what cargo is yet? No, not yet. Hello World. Now that you've installed Rust, let's write your first program. It's traditional when learning a program to write Hello World. Okay, cool. Yeah, all this is fine so far. Make a project, CD into it. They're probably going to say cargo. Oh, nope, they didn't. Did they have you make the TOML file from scratch too? Because in the first one, we had to do cargo new. Huh, no, they didn't get to that yet. So they're having you do it from scratch here, which doesn't seem worthwhile. All right, so these lines define a function. Main function is special. It's always the first code that runs in every executable Rust program. First line declares a function named main that has no parameters and returns nothing. If there were, they'd go inside the parentheses. Know that the function body is wrapped in curly brackets. Brackets, I call this braces. Rust requires these around all function bodies. It's also good style to place it on the same line. Okay, sure, fine. Time of writing an automatic format tool called Rust Format is under development. Rust has been out for 9 years, right? I wonder when this documentation was last updated. Do we have that by any chance? And I guess maybe more importantly, what happens if I do something like this and I save? Ooh, I do not have a formatter. I wonder if one exists. Or maybe Prettier works for Rust. Let's find out. Yeah, in this book you don't have cargo installed yet. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's forbidden knowledge. So does this work with Rust? I don't see so, no. I was just wondering because it showed up in the results here. Can I just install Rust FMT? Aha. 2,000 downloads though. Do people not use this? And this has 1 star? Rated by 2 users? Nothing isn't working. Rust and Rust Analyzer. I installed something already. I installed just Rust. Rust up run. Rust format file. So can I do that? I don't know if I need to install it or what, but I'm going to save this with a bunch of like garbage formatting here. And even that. So this should still be valid code. But rust up run rust format file dot rust. Yeah, rust format's not installed, so I got to figure out how to do that. Is there a way to see a list of technologies I compiled? The one that I mentioned in the today command? No, that's not public, but I don't mind sharing that. I mean, it's right here. These are just ones that as I was going through job applications, I saw pop up, or just ones that I thought might be interesting enough to learn, even if they weren't on job applications. I should have Rust format already. I wonder how you're supposed to do this though. Visual Studio Code, Rust. So I want to find this, then I want to go to their GitHub repository, then I want to look at issues, then I want to look at format. People are finding a way to format. No formatter when formatting selection. Yeah, this is probably my issue here. There are 2 formatting modes, whole file and range formatting. This is Control-Shift-I. What? I overwrote that. Can I just type Rust format? No, come on. Yeah, I was doing this before. Well, there's a better way to do this. Hey, Nerf Prime. When you installed it, do you remember it prompting you about installing other Rust components? I don't think it did. I wonder if I should just reload the whole thing. Let's see if that prompts me for anything. There was a prompt when I tried formatting this that said you don't have a formatter for it. So I guess it doesn't have this? Need to install it, component add. I will check that out in a sec, because that might be what people are doing here. By the way, I cannot forget this. So anyone who does see this, right now it is 9:15. I have an interview at noon. I need to be gone before that. So at like 11:45, somebody better remind me to get going, because I might not know. Figure out how to get a code formatter installed. What time zone am I in? I'm in PDT, Pacific Daylight Time. And thanks, Pew. I think it's like a phone screen. I shouldn't say it's an interview. So you have to install this then? Am I streaming after? I don't think so. I have another interview in the afternoon after that, actually. So I don't think I can stream again today. I'll probably stream tomorrow, though. So let's just try installing this. Do I have to add this for every single thing? What? This seems to imply that I already had it. I'm super confused. Try calling it directly. Yeah, if I wrote it correctly. Ah, okay, it does exist. Yeah, and maybe it existed already at that point. Let me take a look at when these things came about. Rust format was 8:43 p.m. last night. So yeah, it was installed as part of Rust. Okay. Rust up runs stable if I want to use it. Okay, so formatting, automatically formatting code. Rust comes with Rust format, which should be in your path after installing Rust up. So I wonder if I just need to point this in the right spot. Like if I type Rust, what shows up? Format FMT. Ah, there we go. When specified, RLS will use the Rust format pointed at the path instead of the bundled one. So maybe we should just specify this to be what was in this directory. rustfmt.exe. rustfmt.exe. Okay, let's try that out. I don't know if this is gonna work. No, it says there's no formatter installed. I shouldn't need this. What does Rust do? Rust is meant apparently for a lot of different things, and I would suggest Googling that for now. Use cargo format. Cargo-FMT. The thing is, I don't even think this extension is recognizing that I want either of these. Yeah, it's just saying it's not installed. I don't know what that's doing. Yeah, Raf, like I said, just do a Google search about it. Because this is the kind of thing where if you say like, what is Rustlang used for? You'll find a lot of resources online. Same thing, even this book, like one of the things they talk about in the very beginning is the language. And so yeah, check this out. So it works now after following these two steps of quick start. Open a Rust project on the folder for the whole project. You'll be prompted to install the RLS. I had simply opened a Rust source file, which was not sufficient to trigger installing RLS. Okay, so apparently I needed to do this. What is RLS? Rust Language Server. That should have been part of the extension, I thought. Hey, SKS. Hey, RideDev. Well, Raph, what you're asking is like a factual question. That's why I say, I mean, I would even just Google it from your phone still. But yeah, I understand. I know, you want like a quick intro to it. I'm learning it too, though. And yeah, sorry. Hey, Craze and BGS. Thanks for resubbing. So I guess what we need to do is make a workspace, and the workspace has to contain a folder that has a TOML file in it. So that it seems a little tedious, but I suppose let's try it. So desktop Dell learning Rust. All right, yeah, fine. Okay, so can we do? I always forget how to do this. First of all, we need this for later. I'm just gonna close out of everything else. I will close workspace, and then we'll make a new one. So we'll add this folder. Add. Did that work? Is it going to prompt me? Because now I should be able to go to main.rs. Aha! So now it says cannot start Rust language server. Rust up not available. Install from here. I definitely have Rust up, so I don't know what it's talking about. Something got messed up. Ugh. We didn't even have a thing that lets us set the path for that. Oh boy. Yeah. You should make cargo init and then open the folder in VS Code. I did cargo new. I didn't do cargo init. What happens when you use Rust format instead of the entire path? I'm not totally sure. I apparently don't have the language server running anyway, so I don't know if that would help. But yeah, it says the same thing. There's no formatter installed. I look huge on the TV. Must be a big TV. Okay, well, let's keep trying to do this, I suppose. Hey, Endurin. So this had said I don't have it installed. So I guess we'll do this. Hey, Dr. Bovanik. So Rust comes with Rust format, but the extension doesn't, or can't use this without RLS running. The Rust language server. To install that. So there's the installation. Copy a link to this. All right, now what? We're gonna get this. I want formatting on my code that I want to run. So maybe now let's reload this whole thing. Did I restart code after installing it? Might not have. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Although that's why it specified the direct path to the formatter. But I will give you guys also hate blob. Okay. I'll wait for this to finish loading. Should pop up something probably. It says Hello World building. I'm actually kind of surprised it's doing that. Is it ever going to finish building? I don't think it should be taking that long. I'm just going to try formatting it. Nice, it worked. Okay, great. So who knows if I actually need this? Might have. Yeah, so after installing the extension and Rust analysis, RLS and its dependencies, restart VS Code. Yeah, from the command line it's that, but I'm almost always going to be formatting it from my editor. Yeah. And Rust format is in my path, so I should be able to just run it from here. But I'll write that down. If you ever want to run this from the command line, you can just run Rust format file.rs. All right, we can get back to the book now. I think the formatter is pretty helpful. I think it's especially helpful when you're learning a language because why should you care about how the language wants you to write things? Just let it do it for you. And also, you might find errors. So, like, let's say you typed all this on one line and you were like, oh, this is all one line of code. And then you hit save and it's not actually. Then that can help too. And I think there are implicit semicolons from what someone in chat had said. No, apparently not. Okay, it was explicit semicolons that bothered them, not the implicit ones, I suppose. All right, this line does all the work. Do we have anything else that we have here? Compiling and running are separate steps. You just run a newly created program. Let's examine each step in the process. Before running, you must compile it. So they use Rust C, which presumably we also have. Let's see. Which Rust C? Yeah, we do. But we did all this with Cargo, which is what they're about to teach us at some point. Where's Cargo coming? Oh, hello, Cargo, the next one. Yeah, so I'm not going to do any of this. But we did already make this originally, and that was probably in Target. Is there? Yep, there it is. Hello World.exe. So if we run this should have that crab and show us Hello World. Yeah. Okay. It'll return the value from that line. I see. Okay. Did I sound like a Decepticon? I don't know if there's still some voice issues going on now. Wait. What did it say at the bottom? Just compiling is fine for simple programs. As it grows, you'll want to manage all the options to make it easy to share your code. Yeah. So I guess that's good to know that, but if everyone's just going to use Cargo anyway, I guess it's helpful. This WSL? No, it's just Conemo program that I'm using. It's just a wrapper around CMD. So I'm pretty much just using this program in a different window. The Cargo is Rust build system and package manager. Do I have that explicitly written down? Build system, installing packages, running code. Yeah. Most people use this tool to manage their Rust projects because Cargo handles a lot of tasks for you, such as building your code, downloading the libraries, and building those libraries. The simplest Rust programs, like the ones we've written so far, don't have any dependencies. So if we had built this with Cargo, it would only use the part that handles building your code. Sure. As you write more complex programs, they'll add dependencies, and if you start a project using Cargo, adding dependencies will be much easier to do. Because the vast majority of Rust projects use Cargo, the rest of this book assumes that you're using Cargo too. Cargo comes installed with Rust. Cargo -- version, creating a project. So this is pretty helpful. We'll write Cargo basics over here. New project, that is just Cargo, new name of project, and then CD name of project. First command creates a new directory. We named our directory that, yeah, sure. Go into it, list the files. This will make a TOML and a source file. Also initialize a new Git repository. Oh, it initialized the Git repository as well. Wow, that's pretty cool. I saw the git ignore. I thought that's all that did was add a .git ignore, but apparently if we looked at hidden files, we see a .git folder. Oh, wow. Yeah, nice. This also initializes a Git repository. That's really, really cool. I like that. You can change Cargo new to use a different version control system with a VST flag. I don't think I'll ever need to do that, so I'm going to need to write that down. Open cargo.toml in your text editor of choice. It should look similar to the code in listing 1-2. Yeah, I never really looked at this too much, but yeah, let's go take a look now. So, yeah, sure, that's cool. Edition 2018, yeah, that's what they told us about too. Okay, cool. Anything else? This file is in TOML. First line, packages, section heading that indicates the following statements are configuring a package. Next 4 lines of the configuration. Delta, welcome back. I'm learning Rust right now. Thank you for resubbing. Next 4 lines of configuration information needs to compile, name, version, who wrote it, and the addition of Rust to use. Rust gets your name and email information from your environment. So I guess it's getting it from the Git environment, because I don't think I have that stored anywhere else. Not that I feel like changing it or anything. That's fine. The last line is the start of a section for you to list any of the project's dependencies. Yeah, and what was kind of cool is that they have these there by default, just a dependency section. So now take a look. Cargo generated hello world for you. The difference between the previous project is that it placed the code in a source directory, and we have a cargo.toml file. Yep. Expects your source to live in the source directory. Yeah, I should skim this a little bit faster, I think, because we haven't gotten anything important yet. Look at what's different when we build and run it with Cargo. So do Cargo build. Do we need to do Cargo build, or could we just do Cargo run? Oh, we probably need to do Cargo build so that it's always running the newest thing. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's not true. Cargo run will do that. Create a project. Build a project. So it's just Cargo build. Do I look for Java jobs? I wouldn't mind a Java job. I'm not like explicitly looking for really any language. Cargo run is build if modified. Okay, so thanks AOD, I appreciate that. So build and run a project. Oh my god. Cargon. Yeah. If it was modified since the last run. So if we were to just do Cargo run right now. Yeah, so here it's just running it. Here, if we were to change something and just put a new line, it builds it and then runs it. Yeah, cool, that's nice. It's my Decepticon name. Because I turn into a car and then I'm gone. We just built the project. Notice this time we didn't see output indicating the cargo was compiling. Cargo figured out files hadn't changed. Yeah, cool. Can we link to sections in here? We can link to this, I guess. I'll put a link to that, I guess. Okay, what else? Cargo also provides a command called cargo check. Quickly checks your code to make sure it compiles, but doesn't produce an executable. Why would people want to do that? It's much faster than cargo build because it skips the step of producing. Oh, nice. Okay, that's kind of cool. Check if a project would build without actually building it. Cargo check. Yeah, it's too bad you can't link to specific sections. Otherwise, I'd be able to link to this. But I guess we'll just put the reference over here still. This is faster than building and will also build dependencies. Okay. Hey, Leica. You still see what you warnings you have and take care of them too. Yeah, I guess the point is that it's faster than building, because I was gonna say building would do that too. Once you get to more complex code, is that it builds an unoptimized binary by default for debugging purposes. Yeah. This will build a development version by default, which means it's unoptimized. Yeah. It'll be quite a lot faster with run release, yeah. If you want a production version, run cargo run release. Or just a faster way of running. Yeah, I guess I'll just say this here then. All cargo commands build debug versions by default. So I'm guessing then if we do like cargo, I should really just make a thing for that. I don't know why I'm doing that. Is there a -- release flag for everything? Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe not something like check. What just happened? Did it even print out? Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, okay. I also didn't have release. These are unoptimized and intended for development. The -- release flag is what you'd use for production version. Okay, we'll delete all these. Yeah. Oh, hey, they got that here too. -- release. This will create an executable in target release instead of target debug. Yeah. When building for release. Ooh, wait. Yep. Development versus release. Building for release. I don't think that's really necessary. Yeah, I think I need to write that. Hey, Ganak. Nice seeing that it all worked out in the end. I haven't found a job yet, if that's what you mean by it all worked out, although I'm sure it will all work out in the end. I'm not too concerned about that. What I was concerned more about is what am I going to do in the interim? Because I was working on Adam Learns for the last few months and I was going full time on that. And then this kind of threw everything upside down. So I don't know what's going to happen. And we're still learning. I'm just not teaching now. And I'd like to be teaching. You're already off to a great starting Rust journey. In this chapter, you learned how to install, update, open, locally install documentation. Is this, do people use this? Because they did talk about Rust Up Doc. Maybe I should just make a Rust Up Basics thing too. Open documentation locally. Rust Up Doc. Yeah. It's probably a really bad idea for me to ever open it locally though, because I put a lot of links in my notes and these links wouldn't obviously work because they're paths on my hard drive. So I should probably always open the public ones. So write and run this, create and run a new project. This is a great time to build a more substantial program to get used to reading and writing Rust. I can't scroll down any further, so I'll just move the window so you guys can read along with me if you want to. We'll build a guessing game program. If you'd rather start by learning how common programming concepts work, see chapter 3 and then return to chapter 2. All right, let's just build a guessing game. Also check cargo doc. Oh, cargo doc only works for learning Rust. Hello. Cargo doc. Still in the wrong folder. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully this only runs when something changes. It's not going to do is take long every time. Just copy a p tag and paste in as reference. What is this sorcery? Oh, that's AutoHotkey if that's what you're talking about. Oh. Yeah, the mic goes weird. I wonder if they're running with a higher process priority than they should be. Because OBS should have a higher process priority than most programs. So that shouldn't happen. Because that's never happened before. Yeah, I have the process priority set to above normal. I wonder if I should just set it to high. Oh, that probably won't matter. It's probably going to need a restart. I don't think it was dropping frames as a result of the compiler. It was dropping them probably coincidentally, but I think my voice cutting out was a result of the compiler. But what did this do anyway? Now you open up the cargo doc open. Whoa. That is pretty cool. So I don't know what other functions exist, so I don't really know what to search for, but let's just type say. And then how do we actually, whoa, what? Okay, I'm trying to use the keyboard here. I typed say. Ah, okay, we can. I just had the mouse on the screen. Okay. Yeah, go one away for now. So this is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Generate documentation for your whole project. I want to do that one more time and make sure it's not going to take that long. So this one was cargo doc. And I'll say from a project directory. And then cargo doc open. Oh, maybe I should say it like this. Open. Yeah, this is a better way of writing this. Okay, wait, by the way, about that AutoHotkey thing, what I was saying is if I have a link on my clipboard and I type backtick ref and hit a space, it's going to turn it into a link like this for me. That's because I put reference links all over my notes, and I found that to be very helpful. The AutoHotkey for that is in the AHK command, but what it looks like is very simple. Of course, that didn't work. It's just this. So it's a bunch of just send input commands, but I do it so frequently that I think it's pretty helpful. Why did I stop learning Go? We're going to be just learning a lot of different technologies. Yeah, the today command kind of talks about how this is all working. But I just want to cover a lot of breadth. And then I think we'll dive in at some point to one of these things. But I kind of want to just bounce around a lot for right now. So if I run this another time, cargo doc, yeah. Okay. This will likely take a while the first time, but then on subsequent times, it'll only document what changed. So should I take a picture of this or something? Yeah, I think it'd be helpful to have a picture. Okay. There we go. Hey, Bazooka. Bazooka, don't you normally say hello, not hi? Something's up. It's imposter, Bazooka. No, you normally do say hi. I'm just messed up. Hey, Lumi. Let's jump into Rust by working through a hands-on project together. This chapter introduces you to a few common Rust concepts by showing you how to use them in a real program. You'll learn about lat, match, methods, associated functions, using external crates, and more. Following chapters will explore these ideas in more detail. In this chapter, you'll practice the fundamentals. We'll implement a classic beginner programming problem, a guessing game. Here's how it works. The program will generate a random integer between 1 and 100. It will then prompt the player to enter a guess after, okay, yeah, so it's a guessing game. Setting up a new project, so cargo new guessing game, yep. So let's go do this outside of this thing, cargo new guessing game. We are becoming Rust stations. So I'm in this folder, and then we have to have a workspace for this apparently, or no? Like, what if I join these lines and try formatting this? Ah, man, yeah, you have to have this thing in your workspace, otherwise it won't format it. Drat. After that, if you get an error about, what's it say? There is no formatter for Rust files installed. There is no formatter for Rust files installed. Then it means that your file has to be inside of a workspace. Do I still have that link open? I don't, of course. All right, let's go take a look. Can I find that quickly? It was on GitHub. Is it this one? Please tell me it's this one. Yeah, here it is. So I want to copy a link to this particular issue. There. Oh, you know what? I actually, whenever I'm doing this, so I wrote a program called CCD, and it lets me just type in multiple dots in a row. So if I want to go up 3 directories, I could do that. And then I can go back to it by typing learning Rust guessing game source. By the way, that's in the development efficiency course. Doesn't it work on VS Code with Rust files? It only works on the Rust files that are in a workspace, apparently. Otherwise, you get this error. Because, yeah, I'm doing the same thing over here. Yeah, let me see. Okay. So, hey, Chippy. So, we have this. There's something I wanted to write, though. No, it wasn't that. Oh, I remember what I wanted to do. I wanted to add this to the workspace. I still think this is stupid. And now it'll format it. So check this out. Now when I run it, yeah, now it formats. Oh man, I think that's lame. All right, well, I don't want to save that file just yet. So now we have 2 main.rs's. Can we remove a folder from a workspace? I've never actually done that. Yeah, we can. Okay. So we've already looked through a lot of this. I don't think there's too much we have to do here. Cargo run is going to take forever, right? I'm going to just, you know what, we're just going to make an auto hotkey thing for that because I'm going to just keep mistyping it. Yeah. So let's just duplicate this one. Argon. Okay, now start Twitch HK. And so now whenever I make that typo, it's just going to fix it for me. Good. Now I don't have to fix my brain. I fix my computer. So could we have used this from the source folder? Yeah, we could. Okay, hey Kappa. Reopen this, you'll be writing all the code in this file. Yeah, so we should have it open already. Good, we do. Close out the rest of this stuff. Processing a guess. Oh, by the way, we probably don't need this in here anymore. I'm just going to comment this out, make sure it still works. Yes, it does. So let's delete that, close this thing. Is it in the developer efficiency course? I mean, some of it's covered there. I think I also have some notes that are just freely available in my notes. Yeah, the autocorrect stuff is really helpful for things like te and nad instead of and it just auto fixes those or any other words that I type wrong, like tutorial all the time. I like having those. First part of the guessing game program will ask for user input, process that input, and check that the input is in the expected form. To start, will allow the player to enter a guess. Enter the code into this. So we can just click copy. Wow, the fastest Rust coder alive. So guess the number. Please input your guess. Make a new string. Read it. And if it fails, say fail to read line. And then say you guessed guess. Okay, so now we run this. Cargo run. Please input your guess. So it's just going to echo whatever I type, right? Yep. Cool. I think I'm using Rust Analyzer. I installed it at least. But I don't know if it's part of this extension or not. Because it did find some issues. Like if I try importing a package I didn't actually use. But maybe there's something more I need to do there. This code contains a lot of information. Let's go over it line by line. To obtain user input and then print the result as output, we need to bring the IO library into scope. Comes from the standard library, known as std. Good. By default, Rust brings only a few types into the scope of every program in the prelude. Okay, that I don't know. What is this? Rust comes with a variety of things in its standard library. If you had to manually import every single thing that you use, it would become very verbose. But importing a lot of things that a program never uses isn't good. Balance needs to be struck. Prelude is a list of things that Rust automatically imports into every Rust program. It's kept as small as possible and is focused on things, particularly traits, used in almost every single program. On a technical level, it inserts this into the crate root of every crate. And this into every module. Oh yeah, this is probably worth writing down. Rust automatically injects its standard library, the prelude, into each crate. Okay. I am using RLS, yeah. Okay, so the analyzer is instead of that, because I installed this, I installed Rust Analysis, not Rust Analyzer. Yeah, math is always available, yeah. Yeah, that's what I treat this as, but I don't know if this term's ever going to come up again. And this is never what I've heard as a standard library or built into the language, Prelude. So it seems like a very Rust specific term to me. If a type you want to use isn't in it, you have to bring that type into scope with a use statement. Using standard IO library provides you with a number of useful features, including the ability to accept user input. As you saw in chapter 1, main function is the entry point of the program. Function syntax declares a new function, parentheses, yep, we already learned this. As you learned in chapter 1, print line is, oh, what? I didn't read that part of chapter 1 because, hang on a second. Or I skipped over that because their getting started guide. How did they do print line? They didn't. Their original Hello World program. No, never mind. Maybe it was automatically created. Let's just go find out. And we'll just cargo new. Doesn't really matter. And then in source, what did they have here? Yeah, they have been using this. So it's a macro that prints a string to the screen. This code is printing a prompt stating what the game is. Okay. So I should probably go back to chapter 1. I feel like that's a responsible thing to do. Let's just search for it really fast. Macro. Here it is. If it called a function instead, it would be entered as print line without the exclamation point. We'll discuss it in more detail. For now, you just need to know that it means you're calling a macro instead of a normal function. All right, well then fine. We'll just paste this, a link to this in here. Macros ref. Macros are called with an exclamation point between the function name, well, it's probably a macro name at that point, and the parentheses. The most common one is print line. It's probably not the most common one, but I'm going to write that anyway. Okay, let's keep going. So we were here, and I had this closed. So we made the guessing game, we got down to print line, they talked about macros, and this is where we left off. Okay, storing values with variables. Next, we'll create a place to store the user input like this. Now the program is getting interesting. You betcha. There's a lot going on in this little line. Notice that this is a let statement, which is to create a variable. Here's another example. This line creates a new variable named foo and binds it to the value of bar. In Rust, variables are immutable by default. We'll be discussing this in variables mutability. So that's what I figured originally, and that was confirmed by chat. So maybe we'll say like language, and we'll talk about variables and mutability. They are going to cover this in that chapter, so I'll just put a link to this for right now. Let implies something is a variable, and it's constant by default unless you add mute after it, indicating that it's mutable. Okay. It creates a new variable. Yep. / syntax is a comment. Rust ignores everything. Let's return to the guessing game. You know this will introduce a mutable variable. On the other side is an equal sign. Value of guess is bound to, which is string new, a function that returns a new instance of a string. String is a string type provided by the standard library that is a growable UTF-8 encoded bit of text. The : syntax in the new line. Okay, wait, let's look at that. : syntax in the new line. It's probably just calling a static function on a string or something. It is an associated function of the string type. Associated function is implemented on a type rather than on a particular instance. Some languages call this static. Okay, I'm just going to put miscellaneous here. Rust calls static properties / methods associated. Okay. Rust is also a game, yes. But we're learning the language, which has nothing to do with the game. Binding a value, which makes it more intuitive that you can redefine such binding. Technically, let is binding a value to a variable. You can actually redefine the binding. I need to look at that chapter to find out more about what this would mean. But yeah. Okay, new function creates a new empty string. You'll find a new function on many types because it's a common name for a function that makes a new value of some kind. So this is just a convention. It's not actually required by the language. Interesting. Summarize, this has created a mutable variable that is currently bound to a new empty instance of string. Cool. Recall that we included the input-output functionality from the standard library. We'll call the standard in function from the IO module. Sure, sounds reasonable enough. And we're storing the result in the address of guess, I'm supposing. So we hadn't used that at the beginning. We could have written this at, oh wow, so you don't need to import stuff. Do they cover imports in here so that I can know for sure? Should search for import. I don't know what they call these. Is it modules? Is this not a scroll bar? Module, yeah, crates and modules. So presumably we're gonna find out more in here. Did they ever mention import? What's cool is that you can use the arrow keys to navigate this. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I don't, oh wait, it was used, not import. What am I doing? Bringing paths into scope. So you don't have to do this. I just want to get the right reference link to this. So what is this under? This is under, what chapter am I even in? 7. Packages, crates, and modules, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Nerf Prime, for your Prime and half a year subbing. Appreciate it. So you don't have to use a use directive. There are actually 2 places where we found out about this. So one was over here somewhere. Oh, where is it? I don't know where it is anymore. Nah, here we go. Yeah. So you don't have to use a use directive. with use, it would look like this. There we go. Actually, let's just print this all on one line. So with use and without use. So it'd just be the package name. Okie dokie. Then we make this into code. And we put a link to chapter 7. There. In some places you have to use. Okay, so I'll say you don't always have to use a use directive. Okay, hey Curious Track. I'm doing well. Doing pretty good. Yeah, there's no follow age command anymore. I think there's a followed command. Yeah, and this brings you to a site. Because the problem with follow age is that once one person types it, everybody types it. The other thing is that depending on your Twitch client, you can just click someone's name and you can see exactly when they created their account. And depending on your client, you can also see when they followed. I think Twitch by default has that. I don't remember though. Next part of the code calls read line on standard input handle to get input from the user. We're also passing one argument. Job of read line is to take whatever the user types into standard input and place it into the string. So it takes the string as an argument. String argument needs to be mutable. Okay, sounds fine. The ampersand indicates that this argument is a reference, which gives you a way to let multiple parts of your code access one piece of data without needing to copy that. References are a complex feature. One of Rust's major advantages is how safe and easy it is to use them. You don't need to know a lot of those details to finish this program. All you need to know is that they're immutable by default. And so you need to write this. References with ampersand are immutable by default. So if you're passing a reference that needs to be mutable, specify mute for it. Nope, whoop, that. Got it. Handling potential failure with a result type. We're still working on this line of code, which is now down to expect. Oh, so then that means that I should have put semicolons here, at least to show that this, I don't know if we need expect or not, but although we're now discussing a third line of tags, it's still part of a single logic line of code. When you call a method with a foo syntax, it's often wise to introduce a new line, another white space. What do they do when you format this? That is actually what they do. So if we join these lines, they automatically format on their own lines. Huh, okay. I'm fine with that. Just want to know what they did by default. Oh, you've been following me since 2018? Wow. I guess I shouldn't encourage this. So read line puts the user typed. It also returns a value, in this case a result. Rust has a number of types named result in its standard library, generic results as well as specific versions like IOResult. The result types are enumerations, often referred to as enums. I'm going to try to say it that way. Enumeration is a type that can have a fixed set of values, and those values are called the enums variants. Chapter 6 will cover them in more details. For result, the variants are OK or error. The OK variant indicates the operation was successful. So these are going to be in chapter 6. Let's write that here. And enumeration's values are called its variants. Okay. How damaging do you think a lateral career move is? That's a leading question. I think that it doesn't have to be damaging. It all depends on what you want. So, well, actually, I don't know. I guess a lateral job move might be helpful, but I guess a lateral career move might not be. But it always depends. Like, you might hate your current job, you might hate your team, you might hate the product, you might hate whatever else, and you might move to something that is the same relative caliber of that thus would be lateral, but that is actually still a boost to your mentality. So I don't know if this is a trick question where then it's not a lateral move if it's boosting your mentality. What's an example of a lateral job move? What most people consider is that the title and the responsibilities and the pay is all roughly the same. So, you're working as a software developer at company A. So now you go work as a software developer at company B. You're doing the same general stuff, same general pay. Not finding a lot of more senior positions I'm interested in. Oh, so okay, this is actually rooted in your life and not just a general question. that makes me more confident in answering this. So here's what I would say. I think if you've been looking to move for long enough, then this isn't just a phase that you're in or that you don't like the project that you're on or the last week. So if there's anything you can do at your current job to try to find better traction for yourself, I would say seek that out, since that's probably the path of least resistance. And beyond that, yeah, I guess it's time to start looking. And it's good to just inquire and kind of build a network. This is where I think it's always best if you're looking for a job and you don't have any sort of urgency, because you can be picky. That's kind of the position I'm in right now, except for that I am maybe too picky. I don't know. Hey, Simon. Okay. So an inside OK is it successfully generated value. The error variant means the operation failed and it contains information about how or why the operation failed. So this is interesting because there's a decent amount to unpack here. Enumerations aren't all that difficult. But this is kind of interesting because they said this here. There are a number of types named result. And IO result is a specific one. So I guess what we could do... Oh, I deleted the folder, didn't I? No, maybe I didn't. If I go back to learning Rust, hello world, cd hello world, and then cargo doc open. Oops. We would probably have... Oh, I didn't use IO in here, did I? Well, let's just search for result and see what shows up. Type that represents either OK or failure. Contains the success value, contains the error value. Okay, I understand. All right. Am I going to explore Rust WebAssemblies? Probably not. And hey, Wells. When you say you've been using Twitch streams to learn programming, you mean you've been streaming to learn programming, or you've just been watching streams? Because I think both can be really helpful, and you might want to actually give streaming a shot at some point. Which, in that case, I wrote a blog post about this. There it is. Oh yeah, frames have been just totally killed. If it looks like you're lagging, you're not. It's me. I'm dropping tons of frames. So the purpose is to encode error handling information. Values of result type, like values of any type, have methods defined on them. An instance of result has an expect method that you can call. If this instance is an error value, expect will cause the program to crash and display the message. Okay, so this is all stuff about results. I think this is really good, but this is one of the example, like the practice chapters. And there must be somewhere that they talk about this in the regular chapters. And that's where I'd like to put a link to it. But I don't know when they're going to get to that. Here it is. Recoverable errors. Okay, so then let's just ignore this for now. We'll cover it later. So this is what will let us know that it's failed. An error coming from the operating system. If it's okay, expect will take the return value that is okay. That okay is holding and return just that value so you can use it. Value is the number of bytes in what the user has entered. So in this case, we don't actually end up reading the number of bytes that they've entered. But I guess we could have. So how do we do that? We just want let, and we just want to say that it's a like num bytes. And then we need to use it. Now this is a problem. Formatter never specified. Okay, well we'll just print it on a separate line then. Oh, wait a sec. I'm guessing the formatter is is this thing. So I could have just put another one of these here. Yeah, that would have worked. All right, so let's run that. How do we do that? Cargo run, right? Okay, so if I just say hello, it should say 5, 7. Okay, I can understand maybe there's a null character. No, there's a new line and then probably a null character. So that's probably why it's 7. Yeah. Okay, seems reasonable enough. So if you don't call expect, the program will compile, but you get a warning. Let's go try that out. So cargo check. What? This isn't the warning they told me about. Also, I don't care about this anymore, right? Oh no, I need to get rid of this. This is the warning. Oh, this was an error. That's still super weird, right? Oh, because without using expect, it's going to be a result that we get? And expect returns the contents of the result. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I get it. Huh, neat. So this is saying warn unused must use on by default. Must be used. This result may be an error variant which should be handled. Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Hey, Aurelio. Oh, it's a carriage return in a new line? That's why? Also, the frame drops are just going up. Yeah, this hasn't been good. Yeah, I haven't learned about traits yet, so I'm not too sure about that. I generally want to go through this in the order that it's presented in, and I kind of went out of order, and I sort of regret this a little bit, but even things like, okay, variables and mutability, it's being covered here, but they don't officially cover it till later, like chapter 3. You can write the debug format with that. Okay, so I guess we'll put like string formatting and print the debug format of anything that implements debug by using this as a formatter. E.g., I guess print line exclamation point value some value. Let's just try it, I guess. Might as well, right? Cool. Yeah, okay, I see. For strings, this will print any whitespace characters. Actually, that's probably not true. It's probably not any whitespace character. Like if I type hello world. Yeah, no. This will print any hidden characters like /r/r. Except for those would be backslash. Yeah. And pretty debug. There's a pretty version of this with that. Okie dokie, let's give some points. There's also a debug macro. Is that the same thing as what we had here where you just type something like this? Oh, cool. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Huh. Debug format by using this or its pretty version. Yeah. Alternatively, you may find it easier to use the debug macro. So Rust warns you haven't used the result. The right way to suppress the warning is to actually write error handling. But because you just want to crash this program when a problem occurs, you can use expect. You learn about recovering from errors. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's fine. Spreads code so much it's unreadable. I think sometimes it has a purpose because even in JavaScript, like every once in a while I'll write a stringify thing and I'll say whatever my value, and then I'll say null2 here to actually get it to expand on the command line by putting spaces everywhere. I think that can still be helpful. So it's worth writing down, although I don't know if I'll use it. So printing values with the whoa, what? No, I should have selected X. Where'd I go? Is there all right, well, we'll just scroll down, I guess. Okay, so printing values with this. Whoa, what's that? The A has a hat on it. There's no headwear allowed in here. Aside from the closing curly bracket, there's only one more line to discuss in the code added so far, which is the following. The line prints the string we saved in the user's input, the user's input in. Instead of curly brackets as a placeholder, think of it as a little grab pincers. You can print more than one value using curly brackets. The first set holds the first value, second set holds the second value. Printing multiple values will look like this. Yeah, so that's what we learned about. So I guess the most basic formatting. Basic formatting is done with curly braces. So print line x equals y equals xy. Okay. Testing the first part. Let's test the first part of the guessing game. Run it with the cargo run. Please input a guess. You guess 6. The first part of the game is done. We're getting input. Generating a secret number. Next, we need to generate a secret number that the user will try to guess. The secret number should be different every time, so the game is fun to play more than once. Let's use a random number between 1 and 100. Rust doesn't yet include random number functionality in standard library. However, the Rust team does provide a rand crate. So we'd probably do use rand at some point. But I don't know if there's more to it than that. Oh no, we need to install it. So this is where we'd go to crates.io and we'd search for rand. And we find this one, which actually has a copy button right here. Oh, that's pretty nice. I should probably put a link to that. Bloop. There we go. Click either of the buttons below, depending on which page you're on. Fun to play is doing a lot of work there. This is the most fun game you'll have ever played in your life. Don't you dare lie about this. I'm going to be guessing numbers all day. And the stream really just to guess some numbers. So now that we included it, we could do cargo build, I guess. I could have just done cargo check. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound ridiculous right now. So now we have it, and now we just need to use it. So if we were to go generate documentation, we'd see exactly how it works. But presumably there's some documentation on here. And this will just tell me how to use it. Let's use random. What is this? Okay, well, I haven't seen that yet. I mean, I'm guessing this is just a type in rand, and that this is saying import everything from there. But I don't know why they use Prelude for that too. Convenience re-export of common members. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine then. And what does random do? Number 0 to 1. Generates a random value. You think they'd tell you what the random value is between, right? What? Oh, you specify the value that it's going to be. Wow, that's cool. So you can make random booleans. Yeah. All right, well, let's keep going, I suppose. Remember that a crate is a collection of Rust source code files. The project we've been building is a binary crate, which is an executable. The rand crate is a library crate, which contains code intended to be used by other programs. So there are binary crates and library crates. Where's my section on crates? Here it is. There are binary crates, which contain executables, and library crates, which contain code to be imported. Well, to be, yeah, I'll say imported. What do you think is cool about Rust so far? I am on chapter 2. So the stuff that I find cool so far is that like they made a Git repository for you when you do cargo new, and that they've got a random Boolean function. So I'm so early on into the programming language that it's hard to think anything is cool yet. So yeah, those are a couple things so far. That's probably helpful. Always have a main.rs and library crates have a lib.rs. I'll eventually probably find the reference to this. This is why I was saying I probably shouldn't be going out of order here, because I like it when my links, when my notes all have references, and they won't have references now. But hopefully the chapter covers that eventually. Cargo's use of external crates is where it really shines. Before we can write code that uses rand, we need to modify the cargo toml file. Open the file now. So we did that. We chose a different version though, which I guess this kind of indicates when this was last updated, right? 055. Do they have on, where's crates.io? Here it is. Do they have a version history on here? Versions, yeah, they do. Wow. So we could exactly figure out when 5.5 was, which is August 2018. So then the documentation must have been written between August and January. So granted, this is early on enough where, like, who cares if you're using the newest version of Rand? But yeah, and we know that they did make changes. How do you like their dark docs theme? I think it's fine. If they didn't have this, I'd just use Dark Reader anyway. I didn't test out the other themes that they have beyond that, though. Oh yeah, that's kind of nice too. Yeah. Ah, I don't like that though. I keep clicking something and it like jumps somewhere else. What I did. Hey, Xanis. Everything that follows a header is part of a section that continues until another section starts. So this is just part of TOML. Dependency sections where you tell it which external crates your project depends on and which versions you require. Okay, they use semantic versioning. Numbers actually shorthand for this. We're using any version that has a public API compatible with this. Sure. Now, without changing any code, let's build a project. You may see different version numbers. Now that we have an external dependency, Cargo fetches the latest versions of everything from the registry. There's a copy of data from crates.io. Crates is where people in the Rust ecosystem post their open source Rust projects for others to use. After updating the registry, Cargo checks the dependency section and downloads any crates you don't have yet. So this is something I actually liked about Golang, which is that they put all of any versions that resolve to something were put in just a common place on your file system, so that if 10 different projects use Rand, you'd have only downloaded it once. So I wonder what Rust is going to do. In this case, the only listed Rand as a dependency. It also grabbed libc and Rand core because they depend on those. After downloading crates, Rust compiles them and compiles. Yeah, okay, great. So if you immediately run it again without making any changes, you won't get any output aside from the finish line. It knows it's already downloaded and compiled it. So wait, what are we supposed to run to do this? Because I think I did cargo build, right? Yes, I did. So I just naturally did that. That's fine. It doesn't recompile that either. With nothing to do, it simply exits. If you open up the source main and make a trivial change, you'll only see 2 new lines of output. Sure, these lines show it only updates the build. Okay, so this is redundant, which is good for teaching, because I already talked about this in the last chapter. But yeah, I wonder where that stuff goes. Eupheus. Rust is just going to eat your disk space. Oh, really? Because I mean, that's what Node does. It was kind of cool that Go didn't do that. Which, did I write that in Go? I forgot what they're even called in Go anymore. Packages. I have completely forgotten Go in 3 days. I don't remember what they're called. They're probably called packages. Yeah, they're probably just called packages. Did I write anything about the cache? or go path or anything. Ah, modules. That's what it is. Yes, this section right here. These downloaded modules are versioned and will be reused by all modules that require the same version. Yeah, so that's nice. This saves a lot of disk space. Remember to run cargo clean. What does cargo clean do? Cargo basics. Hep clean. Remove artifacts that cargo has generated in the past. Okay. Clean out old artifacts. Clean build artifacts. I'll just write it down. Remove everything that cargo has built. Yeah, I guess I'll write that down too. Oh, go clean mod cache? Did you mean cargo clean? No, I don't see mod cache here, so you must have been go. Yeah. Cargo has a mechanism that ensures you can rebuild the same artifact every time you or anyone else builds your code. Cargo will use only the versions of the dependencies you specified until you indicate otherwise. For example, what happens if next week version 056 of Rand Crate comes out and contains an important bug fix? Answer to this problem is cargo lock. This is pretty much the exact same thing as Node. Yeah. Updating a crate to get a new version. When you do want to upgrade, it provides another command update, which will ignore the cargo lock file and figure out all the latest versions that fit your specifications. If that works, cargo will write those versions to the lock file. By default, it'll only look for versions greater than it and less than 0.6. They've got 2 versions. You should see the following if you run it. So notice a change on the version you create. If you wanted to use Rand version 6, you have to update it to look like that instead. Okay, so any sort of minor updates following Semver will... Oh, wait, could you explicitly write it out, though? Like, in Node, you could write this, or... I don't remember what the other symbols are. Anyway, I guess we'll write that down, too. So what do we call this? Updating crates. So cargo update. And let's copy a link to that. So cargo update, this will update from say 0.5.0 to 0.5.6, not to 0.6.0. For that, you'd have to manually modify your cargo.toml file, which I believe is always capitalized on Windows at least. Yeah, so that's why I capitalize that here too. Version features, okay. Yeah, you can specify ranges. Rust does follow Semver. I should say this at the beginning, but by default, it assumes that you have this before all version numbers. E.g. 050 is really 50, meaning this will update to this, but not to that. For that, you have to manually modify your file. Okay, great. Yep, got the notes. Next time you run it, Cargo will update the registry of crates available, reevaluate your RAND requirements. There's a lot more to say about it that we'll discuss in chapter 14. That's all you need to know. Excuse me. All right, generating a random number. Now that you've added the RAND crate, let's start using it. Next step is to update it as shown. So they use RAND RNG, but this isn't the right one. Where'd it go? No, where's the documentation? can I paint this page too? Nice. RNG. Automatically implemented extension trait on RNG core, providing high-level generic methods. Oh, this is probably what we saw from the prelude, but named differently, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so let's just copy the whole thing and let's paste it over here. Let's delete this and let's look at the diff. So what changed? We added in the RNG, we got the secret number. It's telling us what the secret number is. Oh, that's making it too easy. And then I had some debug stuff over here. Okay, cool. Let's paste that in. Oh, and it reordered the imports to be alphabetized. That's kind of cool. I don't know for sure that that's exactly the matching it's using here, the sorting algorithm, because there are only two things. So it might have sorted it by something else, like line length for all I know. But yeah, he's Supercuber. So now if we run this, cargo run. So the secret number is 17, and we'll just type anything and it'll echo it because we haven't done any conditionals yet. So is there anything unusual that's happening here? Because really this is the only new code. Thread RNG, gen range 101. No, nothing crazy. Okay. First we had a line, use rand RNG. RNG trait defines methods that random number generators implement, and this trait must be in scope for us to use those methods. Chapter 10 will cover traits in detail. Okay, so traits are still mysterious to me because I haven't found their official definition of them. Yeah, all we know is that they're a thing. Next, we're adding two lines in the middle. Thread RNG will give us the particular random number generator that we're going to use, one that's local to the current thread of execution and seeded by the operating system. Then we call gen range on it, the methods defined by the RNG trait that we brought in the scope. Gen range method takes two numbers, exclusive upper bound. Sure, yeah. This is all stuff that, like, I don't think I'll ever memorize whether something is inclusive or exclusive in any language. Even in Lodash, I use their random function like a billion times, and I still don't know what it is there. So I always just look at the docs for that stuff. Inclusive on both of these, yeah. And this one is exclusive on the upper bound. Anyway, who cares? Doesn't matter. You don't need to know what traits to use and which methods and functions to call from a crate. Instructions for using it are in the documentation. Yep, so we already learned about this. If you're interested in other functionality, for example, cargo doc open. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Supercuber. And take care, AOD. Thanks for the help. What makes the rust crab better than the Go Gopher? I think what we learned from Go is that the Go Gopher should be hidden anytime you can hide it. So the rust crab, we haven't really seen that much, but the Go Gopher was watching us while we slept, while we coded. A little weird. Second line that we added in the middle of the code prints the secret number. This is useful while we're developing. We'll delete it from the final version, and it's not much of a game. Yeah, okay. Try running the program a few times. Okay, yeah, you should get different random numbers. Now there's the first crab. What's the company that makes RuneScape? I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know how it's spelled. I don't know if it's Jagex, Jagex. Yeah, I have no idea. But for some reason, people associate crabs with that company. I don't know why. Something about in Reddit threads, people keep talking about mod smackdowns. Like C# extensions, they add methods to a struct if the struct implements a trait. Okay, that's sort of what I was thinking, but the way it was called, it's not on a number exactly. All right, so now that we have user input and random number, we can compare them. That step is shown in listing 2.4. Note that this code won't compile quite yet, as we will explain. Okay, and that's what this crab is supposed to indicate. This code does not compile. I forgot the crab's name already. Ferris. Snip. That's what a crab does. All right, so match guess.cmp, secret number, ordering less, too small, too big, you win. So we're not going to, well, actually, you know what? We could try this, I suppose. And we can figure out why it doesn't compile. So if I do just check here, what does it say? Use of undeclared type. Okay, so this comes from somewhere, and I'm guessing it's so common that it's in here, maybe? No, I don't know. Does it suggest where it's from? No. All right, well, we'll figure it out. They're about to tell us. I just want to see if I do enough here. Try the Windows terminal, yeah. I don't see any reason to use it right now. But as soon as you can color the tabs, that's when I'm going to use it. And I've been testing it out like every week to see when that can finally happen. Then I'll probably switch to it. I just mentioned the crab and it shows up. Oh, I missed the use? Oh, whoops. So it was in standard. It just wasn't just in standard. So this thing is what's failing. Let me give out some points. Apparently I missed it when everybody said it. And Game Over, you're welcome. Thanks for subbing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So now it's a problem with secret number, and it says expected struct string found integer. So what? This is for comparing strings is when we do something like this? I swear if a language actually does this for integers, that'd be insane. So yeah, hopefully that's not the case. Otherwise, you need a snippet every time you type a basic if statement. Well, thank you, Game Overture, for tuning in, for subbing. Make it rainy. All right, I'm going to turn up RTX voice a bit. I get the leaf blowers running right now, so hopefully you guys won't be able to hear that. The first new bit here is another use statement, bringing a type called standard comparison ordering into scope. Like result ordering is another enumeration, but the variants are less, greater, equal. These are the three outcomes that are possible. Then we add 5 new lines at the bottom. CMP method compares 2 values and can be called on anything that can be compared. It takes the reference to what you want to compare with. Here it's comparing the guess to the secret number. Then it returns a variant of ordering. We use a match expression to decide what to do. You know, in every language I've seen that's made in like 2010 or later, mostly, it seems like they're opting for having switch cases that don't have explicit breaks but have explicit fall throughs. I think that's very smart. What happened to Learneroni? I got rid of that. But it was a little too juvenile. It's echoing. Is it? I mean, I could turn this up even higher, but as long as it's not blaring in your ears like it's blaring in mine right now. Yeah. So the first new bit, we had that. Yep. Then we had 5 lines. Okay. The match expression is made up of arms. Arm consists of a pattern and the code that should be run if the value given at the beginning of the match expression fits that arm's pattern. Rust takes the value given to match and looks through each arm's pattern in turn. The match construct and patterns are powerful features in Rust that let you express a variety of situations your code might encounter. Features will be covered in detail here. Okay, so I'm not going to write anything down about that yet. Any tips on how to organize OneNote? Yeah, I have a blog post about that. They're called arms. Everyone calls them branches. They're called arms. They're called crab legs. Mark some orange. Yeah, I had seen that. I wonder if that would be better here for this stuff. Yeah, I think that's fine. Just a little too much orange here. It's Halloween now. So let's walk through an example of what would happen with the match expression used here. Say the user guessed 50 and the randomly generated secret number is 38. When it compares this, it'll return ordering greater because 50 is greater than 38. Match expression gets the order greater value and starts checking each arm's pattern. It looks at the first arm, does not match, compares the next one, does match. Associated code in that arm will run, too big will print to the screen. Match expression ends because it has no need to look at the last arm. However, the code won't compile yet. Let's try it. Core of the error states that there are mismatched types. Rust has a strong static type system. However, it also has type inference. When we wrote let mute guess equals string new, Rust was able to infer the guess should be a string, but it didn't make us write the type. Secret number, on the other hand, is a number type. Okay, this all sounds fine. Few number types can have a value of 1 to 100. I32, U32, I64, and U64, a whole bunch of them. Defaults to I32, type of secret number. Ultimately, we want to convert the string into a real number type so we can compare it. Do that by adding the following 2 lines. It's too bad they didn't highlight what the new lines are here. So what do they do now? They make the guess this, and then they change the type. Interesting. And the two new lines are what? There's only one line. What are they talking about? Yeah, that's the only thing they changed, right? It's so weird. Okay, let's paste that in. Okay, so now I have that. Now we can go try to check this. Yep, it works. And if we type in 5, it'll say too small. So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here. So trim, parse, I guess my assumption is either parse always returns as a number or knows what type we're trying to store it in. So I would assume it's always always does this as a number. So this would be on string somewhere. How do we get to the documentation for built-in stuff? Rust Lang docs. I know we can use Rust up. I want to find the ones that are online though. It looks like they were just on this last page, like right here. Yeah, so I could just type string maybe. Yeah, cool. There it is. And now we'll find a parse function. No. Is there a different string? Because there are two different kinds of strings here, apparently. I just want to find parse. Oh, maybe this is a trait? Yeah. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, parse knows because yeah, okay. So that was one of my two hunches that I might have had. One was that it was always returning a number, and two was that it inspected what you're trying to store it into. Interesting. So hey Johnny man. So this is something that's good to have. I guess let's just paste this into. Does this work? No, it doesn't. So how do we link to just the documentation? Because this is for the standard library. I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess I'll put some like quick links at the top. API documentation for the standard library. Do I play video games? I play video games, yeah. What am I hyped for? I think I'm most hyped at this point for a game that's not coming out for a long time, which is Breath of the Wild 2. Is there any game I'm like massively looking forward to? I think that's the one I'm most hyped for right now. Oh, there are two different strings? And Turbofish operator is really good to know. Yeah, but I assume we'll get to that in the other documentation. I should really make a Rust command at this point. So let's link to this. Rust is a programming language focusing on. I was gonna say like not letting you shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah, I think people are gonna keep asking the same questions, so I should probably have a command for it. I should be able to add more details. Yeah, I'll just link to this for right now. We'll do more about that later. Okay, let's keep going. So we create a variable named guess, but wait, doesn't the program already have one? It does. Rust allows us to shadow the previous value with a new one. This feature is often used in situations where you want to convert a value from one type to another. Shadowing lets us reuse the guess variable name. So this is one of those cases where I wonder, is this a good idea? And in a statically typed language, I guess it could be fine. Typically, when you shadow a value, it's a mistake. And languages like Python or JavaScript, really anything with scope, I guess. And there are cases where you might explicitly want it and cases where you might not. Like let's say you're iterating over a for loop and you have like let I equals 0 or whatever else here, and then you have another for loop like way down in the code and you use I again. It's not used very often. Yeah, so then in this case, I don't think it's a problem because since the compiler would know that the type of guess for these lines is a string and that the type of guess for these lines is an unsigned integer. So that's why I don't think it'd be a big issue here. It would be a problem if you somehow... I guess only if you wrote it from a different scope. But Mobius says there's explicit ownership. All right, let's see. Convert from one to another. Shadowing lets us reuse the guess variable name rather than forcing us to create two unique variables. That sounds cool. We bind guess to the expression guess trim parse. Guess in the expression refers to the original guess that was a string. Trim will remove any white space. And although U32 can only contain only numerical characters, the user must press enter to satisfy read line. When they press it, it's added. Yeah. For example, the user press 5. Guess looks like that. Only on Linux and Mac, not on Windows. Parse method parses a string into some kind of number. Because this method can parse a variety of number types, we need to tell Rust the exact number we want by using let guess U32. Colon tells it will annotate the variable's type. Rust says so. There was some syntax where if we hadn't done this, we could have done something like parse colon U32. I don't know what the syntax actually is, but it's something along. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, it's something along those lines. And then this program would still work. Yeah. So that might be worth writing down somewhere, although I'm not too terribly sure where. No, we should probably save that for later. Oh, that's the turbofish operator? I thought it was with nothing inside, but if you just put U32, that's... Okay. Take a throw, and yeah, thank you. I have an hour and 4 minutes left to stream. Then I got an interview, and then I have another interview later today. When I say interview, by the way, I pretty much mean phone screens. Like, I haven't talked to these companies before. The thing you put inside is a type specified. Yeah, I will save this then, because I have a feeling this will be important, but it's hopefully going to be covered later. I kind of like how Go went through the documentation where they taught you everything and then had you do an example with it. Do I have a special deep voice for phone screens? Yes, you'll never hear it here. Am I using a dark reader? While I am, these docs have a built-in theme at the upper left. Okay, so parse, we learned about this. Good default choice. You learn about other number types additionally. Yep. Cool. Call the parse could easily cause an error, so that's why we have an expect. Yep. Which I never tested. Let's try it out. Hello. And it should say please type a number, right? Yeah, there it is. Thread main panicked with please type a number. Parse int error invalid digit. Run with Rust backtrace to display a backtrace. Process didn't exit successfully. I'm going to try setting this. Set Rust backtrace equals 1. Then we run this. Then I type hello. Whoa. All right, so here's my code, line 20 of this, obviously. And then it calls into a bunch of other stuff. But we would have seen line 20 there anyway, right? Yeah, we did. So I don't think the backtrace is really necessary in something like this. What I find a little bit strange, which I guess would be kind of nice to know, is it says parse int error kind of invalid digit. It doesn't actually say what it was, which I guess we could have printed out. Maybe we could have. Can we just do this by any chance? No, there's probably some like sprintf kind of thing we'd have to do. Yeah, I don't know how we do that yet, but there's got to be a way to do that. But whatever, we'll just leave it like that for now. Thoughts on Conemu? The newest Windows terminal, I think, provides nothing of value over Conemu. There's literally one thing which is very minor value, which is opening up a new tab is very fast. Whereas in Conemu, if I do that same thing, you can see it kind of delays a little bit before it opens. That's the only thing I think is better right now. But eventually it's going to have colored tabs and then it's going to be the best program. So I'm waiting for that. You need to use format. Oh, okay. So that's where we have this. You can sprintf via the format macro. So expect you needed a number. So I'm going to try this. Format, but typed value. So this should have worked. So we paste this in and we say that this is supposed to be guess. And now we run it. Where's the run command? It's in the wrong tab. Ack, expected string found struct string. I don't know how to fix this. Yeah, I don't know enough about these types yet. Maybe we could just change that. Oh, it's the same thing. Oh, this needs to be an ampersand? What in the world is going on with this spacing? Shouldn't it be an end? Oh, there it is. There's the end quote. Yeah, okay. And this is because I guess there's a carriage feed and carriage return and new line. Rust has like 8 different string types. Colored tabs are already implemented apparently, Blob. That's what I don't understand is like where are they in the program? And I think I tried building it myself once or something. I don't know why. This WSL? No, it's not. So is there something I should take from this? Of how to know to put the ampersand there? I guess this expects a static string and we have something that was mutable. So we need the address of the string. All right, well, let's just copy paste this at the bottom for right now. Okay, so I'll paste in what you said, Leica. And I'll give Aleph and Seal a point and Nathaniel a point and Holger a point. This happened and I had this line of code. No, wait, that was a line of code. There's this line of code. So we delete the ampersand. I just needed an ampersand in front of format. There we go. Then we'll highlight this red. It's always really difficult to figure out what color I'm supposed to use because I have everything reversed here, but that should probably work. There will be a lot of those things. Oh boy. So from everything I've heard, here's the general flow of chat so far. It's been Rust is super confusing and I love Rust. Those have been the two opinions that I've heard. So I guess it's worth learning, but I also guess that it's hard to learn. So that's fun and interesting. And hey, Smoo. Yeah, I guess you grow to love it. Well, so far I haven't seen enough to know anything about it really. And this is where I feel like what happened with Golang too. I felt like I learned what the strengths of the language were supposed to be, but I didn't actually use them enough to know that they were strengths. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So for example, it contain this, if you know where to convert that because it might fail. Parse method returns a result type. discussed earlier. Yep. Treat this result the same way by using the expect method again. If parse returns an error result variant because it couldn't create a number, the expect call will crash. Okay, if it can successfully convert or return the number that we want from the OK value. Yep. So let's run the program now. Great. Even though spaces were added before the guess, program still figured out that the user typed that. We have most of the game working. So let's add a loop. Multiple guesses with looping. Loop keyword creates an infinite loop. We'll add that now to give the users more chances. More chances. That's an understatement. Infinite chances. Okay, so let's just copy loop around where's the guess. We'd probably need it around even this too. I mean, I know the code just showed us. I didn't remember. But I was going to say, otherwise, this guess wouldn't still be a string. Oh, and please input your guess. I suppose that would be nice to have there too. Move everything into a loop from the guess input onward. Be sure to indent the lines inside the loop another 4 spaces. What? Spacing shouldn't be important in a language with curly braces. Why'd they say to do that? Programming after the guess since the user can't quit. Why did they say to do this? That shouldn't matter if you didn't tab it in, right? Save without formatting. Let's go try to build that. Yeah, no, I think they're just saying that to let you tell where the program or where each block is more easily. All right, user could always interrupt the program by using Control-C. There's another way to escape this insatiable monster. As mentioned in the parse discussion, if the user enters a non-number, the program will crash. The user can take advantage of that to quit. Okay. Typing quit actually quits the game, but so will any other non-number. This is great for if you're guessing and then you finally get the answer and then you type a rage emoji to quit. Oh, except for my console doesn't support it. Yeah, it's not listed in the PC specs SDA. I got to still write that down. It's in the specs command, which is this. Did my bot crash or something? Why is it not actually printing a command? Oh, weird. There it is. Yeah, it's a CAD U37 Studio Condenser mic. I think I have a note to myself to add this somewhere. Do I have like an edit to do command or something? I must. Dir star to do star CMD. Yeah, it's just called to do. Okay. So anyway, somewhere in this file, I should have this. Mic. Yeah, add mic to specs. A couple of people have asked about it. All right. All right, quitting after a correct guess. Let's program the game to quit when the user wins by adding a break statement. So if it's equal, we break out of the loop. And do we need curly braces or anything? Yes, we do. So I assume it's like that. Yeah, adding break makes the program exit. Exiting the loop also means exiting the program. So now if we run this again and we type 23, it exits. And we don't need a rage face. Handling invalid input. To further refine the game's behavior rather than crashing the program, let's make the game ignore a non-number so the user can continue guessing. Do that by altering the line where guess is converted from a string to a U32 as shown in listing 2-5. Oh, interesting. Yeah, interesting. This is nice enough syntax. It's very similar to what JavaScript added with ES6. Yeah, okay, let's paste that in. So here, I suppose. So now let's try that out. So we type hello, which says please input your guess. I guess what it should have done is this, where it says print line that is not a number. Yeah. Switching from an expect call to a match expression is how you generally move from crashing on an error to handling the error. Remember that parse returns a result type and results in a num that contains either OK or error. We're using a match expression. Yeah, nice. I think it's reasonable. Syntax is still a little bit alien to me, so if you asked me to type this out myself, there's no way I would have gotten it. Where's a link to the open book? I will link to just whatever page I'm on, and you can just cut out the URL to get to, whoops, to get to the beginning of it. Does continue returning U32? The answer is semi-black magic with special types, but you can just ignore it. Huh, okay. Oh, my OneNote. Oh, that's just the notes command. Yeah, by the way, the OneNote command you use actually did say that. For the notes themselves, type notes. But yeah, there's a lot of text and you were probably just looking for a specific link. All right. If parse is able to successfully turn the string into a number, it'll return an OK value that contains the resulting number. That OK value will match the first arm's pattern. The match expression will return the num. The number will end up right where we want it. Okay, cool. If it's not able to turn the string into a number, it will return an error value that contains more information about the error. It does not match this pattern. The underscore is a catch-all value. We're saying to match all error values no matter what information they have inside them. So the program will execute the second arm's code, which tells the program to go to the next iteration of the loop. So effectively it ignores all errors. They don't dive into what Supercuber was saying here though about how does this work with a type here. But yeah, it's magic. And no, it's okay, paper. Yeah. Do I have lists of all the commands? I don't, because I've got something like 500 commands, and whenever I've had a list of commands everywhere, people just start spamming them. So in general, what I like to do is I like to have it in the collective consciousness of chat and myself. And if anyone ever needs the answer to something, there's probably a command for it, and the people who know it, great, and the people who don't know it, I probably do. Yep, there's a command for everything. It deduces that it doesn't ever actually fill that variable because it'll not run that code. I see. Yeah, I think what you're looking for, and I'll alias that. Yeah, I told you there's a command for everything. I mean, when you have 500 commands in a coding stream, there's got to be commands for lots of stuff. But that's what I was saying is if you just listed out those 500 commands, you'd find all these silly ones that have existed. Like this one that is this the command name, I think? No, it is just question marks. I love this command. It's just such a hasty Photoshop. It's just so stupid. Whenever that's relevant, and I link that in, I get such a kick out of it. All right. With one final tweak, we'll finish the guessing game. Recall the program is still printing the secret number. Let's delete it. I'm not going to delete it. So at this point, you've successfully built the guessing game. Congratulations. So this seriously is how you have to compare numbers in the end. There's no just like if guess is less than whatever. I want to spoil this secret right now. Wrestling, compare numbers. It's always a match. No. No. Okay, good. Yeah, you can just compare numbers with like a greater than. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say that's a little crazy. Imagine if we had to do this for every number comparison. Project was a hands-on way to introduce many new Rust concepts, use of external crates, and more. In the next few chapters, you'll learn about these concepts. Chapter 3 covers concepts that most programming languages have, such as variables, data types, and functions. Shows how to use them. 4 explores ownership. 5 discusses structs. 6 explains how nums work. Okay, yeah. I like my style of taking notes is much more supported, I guess, by doing the learning first and then the example that applies all of that. But they kind of flip that backwards so that you do the example first and then the next chapters cover what you learned. Both work from a learning perspective, but it doesn't really work from a note-taking perspective. This chapter covers concepts that appear in almost every programming language and how they work in Rust. Many programming languages have okay, so I'm going to skip this stuff. Basic types, yep. Rust languages have keywords that are reserved for use. Now use those words as variables. Yeah. Okay. So again, pretty standard. If you know programming, none of what that page just said is interesting. Using match ensures you handle all the cases. I see. Oh, the rest of the book is learning first and example second? I guess we could find out by looking at this. We know what chapters up to 6 are. Then we have a project here in chapter 12. Is that it? There's only 2 more projects? Oh, okay. Yeah, then I guess it won't be much of a problem. Yeah. All right, that shouldn't be too bad. I think we might have enough time to make it through this, but possibly not. In fact, I guess the way we could find out is by looking at the scroll bar. This one doesn't look too bad. That one's a little bit longer. That one's kind of long. That one's really fast. And that one's kind of long. Yeah, then we won't be able to get through all this today, I think. I think these are pretty meaty chapters. But that's okay. We'll get through as much as we can. I have about 45 minutes left because I have a phone screen at 12 and it's 11 right now. So I have an hour until the phone screen and I want to actually figure out what this company is that I applied to. I submitted so many applications that I didn't research any of the companies, and I figured I would research them if I found out that I have a phone screen. So there have been a couple of companies where when I end up doing the research, I'm like, what in the world is this place? And I don't think that's the case with this company today, but I don't really know a lot about them. All right, this is one of the many nudges Rust gives you to write your code in a way that takes advantage of the safety and easy concurrency that Rust offers. However, you still have the option to make your variables immutable. So this is where I started writing notes, and this is why this was a bad idea. Because I started writing this here. And that was chapter... Oh no, we're in the right spot. Yeah, okay. But I didn't write the why for this. Rust has const by default as a way of for safety reasons, and I'll just link to this. I'll just say safety and easy concurrency. Yeah. Imagine actually knowing the name of the company you're interviewing for. What's funny is, okay, so here's my general flow. Before a phone screen, I'll go look up what a company is about, and I'll try to find out what can I learn just from what's public. And so in these phone screens, I think it's almost expected that no one knows anything about the other person. That's what I've seen so far. Like, companies are totally fine with you being like, okay, what's your product? And I have to be fine with them saying, I know nothing about your resume, or I never read your cover letter, or I didn't see any of your portfolio. I read the wiki back to them. I edited to say something else. This is a company where Adam13531 works. They're like, wait a second, what? You're hired. All right, so let's see why they encourage you to favor immutability and why you sometimes might want to opt out. When a variable is immutable, once a value is bound to a name, you can't change that. To illustrate this, let's generate a new project called variables in your projects directory by using cargo new variables. All right, let's do this. Yeah, I might as well, because we don't know what else they're going to have us do. So now we have a variables package in here, and we can do, what's it called again? Cargo? Yeah, fine. Cargo run. It's not going to do anything other than print hello world. But then we need to do one other thing. This is the part that I find tedious. We need to add this to the workspace, otherwise it won't format. So there, and then we could remove guessing game. It doesn't really matter. Just save that. All right, so what are we supposed to do here? Your variables, open up source main, replace the code with the following. So var main, and replace it with this. And we already see the crab there, which means this isn't going to work. And here it's because this is an immutable value, and we'd have to have said let mute for this to work. Or maybe there's... What did we do in the other program? We said that it was a different... we could shadow the variable itself. So could we say let again? Yeah, we can. Yeah, okay. So that's the other thing we could have done. So I guess we have 2 options there. Maybe more. I don't know enough about Rust yet. Save and run the program using cargo run. You should receive an error, yeah, whatever. This example shows that the compiler helps you find errors in your programs. Even though compiler errors can be frustrating, they only mean your program isn't safely doing what you want it to do yet. They do not mean that you're not a good programmer. I feel like you should have added this in here. Do not mean you're not a good programmer. There. All right, experience rustation, still get compiler errors. The error message indicates that the cause of the error is that you cannot assign twice to a mutable variable. Probably should have read this. I understand what's going to happen here. Yeah. Okay. Because you try to assign a second value. Yep. It's important that we get compile time errors when we attempt to change a value that we previously designated as immutable, because this situation can lead to bugs. One part of our code operates on the assumption the value will never change. Another operates. Yeah, great, cool. Compiler guarantees that when you state that a value won't change, it really won't change. That means that when you're reading and writing code, they're spending a lot of time on this. I feel like most languages have some concept of const, and those languages don't let you overwrite constants. Because they said in the beginning that we do expect that you know another programming language, but we don't really care what. So I suppose it could be a language that doesn't have the concept of constants. Yeah, like maybe it's JavaScript pre-ES6. What if it's your first language? Well, yeah, that's what I was saying, is that these docs assume that it's not your first language, but they don't assume what language you already know. So, yeah. Get used to the compiler complaining about your code. You guys are getting issues with Twitch. Whenever this happens, I always go to their support Twitter. And if there's ever something at the very top of their Twitter here, then... No, the last thing's from June 10th. Oh no, 6 minutes ago. We're looking into an issue causing multiple errors across Twitch right now, including elements of the site not loading. Oh, I copy a link to this. There we go. Yeah. So that's that. Okay, so let's change it to this. That worked. Yep. We can run the program. We're allowed to change it. In some cases, you'll want to make a variable mutable. There are multiple trade-offs to consider. For example, in cases where you're using large data structures, mutating an instance in place may be faster than copying and returning newly allocated instances. With smaller data structures, creating new instances and writing in a more functional programming style may be easier to think through. Okay, cool. Differences between variables and constants. Being unable to change the value of a variable might have reminded you of another programming concept, constants. Like immutable variables, constants are values that are bound to a name and are not allowed to change. But there are a few differences between constants and variables. First, you aren't allowed to use mute with constants. Constants aren't just immutable by default, they're always immutable. What is this part saying? Like, I I don't know. I find this a little bit weird. This whole section. Constants mean that they're immutable. So saying you can't use mute with constants is saying constants are immutable. Mute means mutable. Okay, I don't know. You declare constants using const instead of let. Oh, it's different from let even. Oh, so then, all right, that's the part I didn't understand. So if I said const x equals 6 and then later I said let x equals 6. Wait, why is this failing? Missing type. Now what? Should I have an uppercase name? Okay. It can't infer the type from here? I guess it's potentially a bunch of different types. Maybe if I picked a big enough number, it would know it's a U64. All right, so now if I tried to shadow this, I can't do that. Let x equals 6. Interpret as a constant pattern, not a new variable. Nothing defined here. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't realize until just now that there is... I thought they were saying, hey, you might know these as constants, but we never use that word. Now we're using the word. But they're actually saying there is a const keyword. That's the part I didn't know. Okay, so we'll write that down. Rust does have a const keyword. Consts have to be capitalized. Although that's just a warning, not an error. Const must include a type rather than inferring the type. And you can't. Okay, so now this is why this makes sense now. None of this parsed in my brain originally. So you declare constants using this, and the type of the value must be annotated. We're about to cover types and type annotation, so don't worry about the details. Constants can be declared in any scope. The last difference is a const. Wait, does this mean that let can't be declared in any scope? So I couldn't have said something like let foo equals 5. Yeah, I guess not. Const can be declared in the global scope, whereas let cannot be. And what was the last one? Constants may only be set to constant expression, not the result of a function call. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Const can only be set to constant expressions, not the result of a function call or anything. Yeah. Where else? So here's an example of a constant declaration where the constant's name is max point and its value is set to 100,000. Use all uppercase. I shouldn't say have to be. Although it's just a warning if they aren't. Okay. Valid for the entire time the program runs within the scope they were declared in, making them a useful choice for values in your application domain that multiple parts of the program need to know about, such as maximum number of points, blah. Naming hard-coded values used throughout your program is useful, and yeah, okay, great. So that's all fine. What does this play button do? Man, Go had this as well. I think it's pretty cool, except that in this case, since the code isn't actually printing anything, this is less useful. Yeah. And you can't edit it. So there's no reason anyone would ever click this button, right? Did that even exist on other code snippets? It did, I guess. Will it print build errors? Because this should fail. Oh, no, not that one. That one shouldn't fail. This one should fail. No, they don't let you do that. Oh, that's a little weird. I wonder if there's a Rust playground. I actually read about that on their starting. Yeah, there is a playground. Play.rustlang.org. Is there a theme you can set? Theme. Can we make it? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, so let's just set this as something that's that. Yeah, sure. Great. And then can you change? Where does the output go? Okay. That's pretty cool. Let's get a link to this. Playground. Naming hardcode values. Okay, great. So now shadowing. This is probably worth writing about. References. All right, so shadowing. As you saw in the guessing game, you can declare a new variable with the same name as a previous variable, and the new variable shadows the previous one. They say that the first variable is shadowed by the second, which means that the second variable's value is what appears when the variable is used. We can shadow a variable by using the same variable's name and repeating the use of the let keyword as follows. So you can't shadow constants, apparently, right? If I do this isn't going to work. Yeah. So you can shadow variables, not constants, by rebinding the value in a let statement. Program binds x to a value of 5, then it shadows x by repeating this, taking the original value and setting it to 6. Yeah, sure, fine. Shadowing is different from marking a variable as mutable because we'll get a compile time error if we accidentally try to reassign this variable without using let. Yeah. You can shadow immutable variables e.g. by just saying let x equals 5 twice. Yeah. Perform a few transformations on a value, but have the variable be immutable after those transformations have been completed. Yeah, so this allows you to perform transformations on a value, but have the final variable be immutable. That's a little weird, though. Like, I feel like this is like type assertions in TypeScript, where you're saying to the compiler, like, hey, look, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So I guess you could create bugs by doing this. All right. So what else do we have here? Effectively creating a new variable. We can change the type or reuse the same name. Oh yeah. Since we're technically creating a new variable, this lets us change the type of a variable. Okay, sounds good. This construct is allowed because the first space is variable is a string type, second is brand new as a number type. Shadowing thus spares us from having to come up with different names. Trying to use mute for this, we'll get an error. I see. Okay. You wouldn't be able to do just with let mute. This is nice so that you don't need something like, you know, people array and like, I don't know, yeah. Message and message count. You could just reuse the same variable. By the way, I already mentioned this, but there's that tweet from Twitch support saying that many things aren't even loading. I have not had anyone type anything in chat for 6 minutes, so I assume that there's just a problem with chat. For all I know, my stream isn't even online anymore. So who knows if you guys can see me? I don't even know how you'd be able to communicate with me. I guess you'd be able to type something on Discord. Yeah. I guess if anyone's still watching the stream, just respond to this message. All right, let's see. If no one clicks this button, that means that there's probably an issue and that I'm not actually streaming right now. Okay, no. At least one person can. Thanks, Teppy and Psymaster. Yeah, so I can't see chat at all. It is just totally frozen ever since 11:10 for me. It's about 7 minutes ago. Anyway, I won't be reading Discord. I just wanted to make sure that this is even still being streamed. So if you guys are chatting with me, it's just not making it anywhere. I don't know if chat's even showing up for you guys either. But I'm still going to go through this. We got another like 20 minutes that we can go through. All right, error says we're not allowed to mutate this. Now that we've explored how it works, let's look at more data types they can have. Yeah, this is pretty nice so far. All right. So data types. Data types. And again, these notes are available to anybody. If you go to notes.adamlearns.live, you can get access to them. I really need to make this also work with .com, but it doesn't. So it's notes.adamlearns.live. Every value in Rust is of a certain data type, which tells Rust what kind of data is being specified so it knows how to work with that data. We'll look at two data type subsets, scalar and compound. Keep in mind that Rust is a statically typed language, which means that it must know the types of all variables at compile time. Yeah, I should probably write some of these like qualities of the language. Qualities of the language. It's static typing. All types must be known at compile time. I might as well just write this in here. Anything else? Okay, in cases when many types are possible, such as when we converted a string, we must add a type annotation like this. If we don't, Rust will display the following error. You'll see different type annotations for other data types. So we also learned about the hyperfish, which they're not using here, but I feel like now is a good time to finally write this down. So we got to here in data types, yeah. So is this still type inference? Yeah. Type inference can work based on where we're attempting to store a result. For example, you can parse a string as many different types. But this indicates, but in the code below, we know we want a U32. So that parse will return a U32. Oops. That's not code. That's code. Yeah. So we'll eventually learn about, can also use the hyperfish, what would you call this? Operator? I don't know. Can also use a hyperfish operator with this. So let's go try this out in the playground. So we'll get this. And we say hello world and we can print out yes, right? So it's going to be hello world 42. Yeah. Now the other way we could have done this is like so. : fish U32. Yeah. That's not correct. I don't know why I even wrote that. Maybe I should just keep Discord open. Yeah, Twitch is very borked right now. I wonder what's going to happen to the VOD for this. I wonder if anyone will actually be able to watch it. I hope so. I wonder if anything even shows up when I click this. Let's find out. Access denied. I don't have access to my own videos. Oh. Whatever. We don't. Excuse me. All right. So there are scalar types and compound types. There are scalar types and compound types. So we'll link to scalar types here. And then compound types is presumably farther down on the page. Yep. And I'm guessing they just mean primitive and everything is not primitive. So yeah, integers, booleans, whatever. And then probably arrays, objects, dictionaries, whatever they have. So integers, floating point, boolean, and characters. Scalars are integers, floating point numbers, booleans, and characters. Integer is a number without a fractional component. Okay, I don't think it's worth really writing any of this stuff down, except that I32 is the default integer type. Isn't that what they said on a different page? Integer type is default to I32. Yeah. Integers default to I32, which I guess we'll link to this section as well. Oh, hey, I can see chat again. Hey, guys. Excuse me. I'm seeing this thing about cons that we have here. Yeah, I think we're back. At least chat's back. Let's see if my VODs are back. Yeah, nope, never mind. Yeah, I didn't join Discord voice. You guys could still hear me though, right? I know Discord voice, I'd be able to hear you, but I don't necessarily think I want that to happen on stream right now. Hey, Teppers. Hey, check. Turbofish instead of Hyperfish. Man, I like the name Hyperfish way better. But thank you. We should submit something to change that. Everything was fine besides chat? Okay. Yeah, hey, Supercuber. I was saying hey guys as a collective hey guys. That's a valid link, by the way. Turbofish. I should make Hyperfish that's better than this. Look, you can select them as they go by. Moving too fast. They're too turbo. Okay, each variant used for this, arch, I size, and U size. I don't understand that part. Depend on the kind of computer you're running on. Oh, okay, sure. And you just have I size and U size for signed/unsigned values based on your computer architecture, 32 or 64-bit. Okie dokie. It's possible if there's positive or negative. What else do we have? -1 sounds fine. I don't think any of this stuff typically matters to me because if I'm ever wondering what I should use, I just pull up the documentation anyway. So if there's anything that's unusual about this, then I would want to write it down. So here are some things you can use. You can use commas. You can use underscores as commas. Integers can use underscores as visual separators. E.g., 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to represent a million. That's kind of nice. I mean, it's kind of nice, except for that don't certain countries do this differently, where they'll put spaces in different spots, so that now I guess even if countries do it differently, it's like you have if and for and other words that are in English, most programming languages. I don't know if those get localized. So how do you know which type of integer to use? If you're unsure, Rust defaults are generally good choices. Sure. So what do we have about this? Try to change a variable to a value outside that range, such as 256, and overflow will occur. Rust has some interesting rules involving this behavior. When you're compiling and debug, it includes checks for integer overflow. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Rust does not include checks. Wow, that's really cool. So when compiling without the release flag, you'll have runtime integer overflow checks performed automatically. That's amazing. Yeah. Relying on wrapping behavior is considered an error. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, we're learning a lot about the safety that it provides. Rust has two primitive types for floating point numbers, F32, F64. Sure, don't care about writing any of that down. Numeric operations, basic math operations you'd expect, addition, subtraction. Okay, cool. Is there like assignment addition with plus equals? Does that exist? Guess plus equal 50. So we should print out 92 if that works. Guess is what I meant to say. Also, I need to make this mutable. Okay, a couple of problems there. Yeah, that works. Okay, yeah. I'm surprised they did not indicate one of these yet. Huh, strange. Did you message about U size and I size? No, my chat has been very sparse ever since I came back. I have just one page of chat, pretty much. Okay, this is all fine. Appendix B. Why didn't they link to this? Can't click it. As in most other programming languages, let me turn down this again. A Boolean type has two possible values, true and false. They're 1 byte in size. Boolean type is specified using bool. Main way to use them is through conditionals. Yeah, okay, great. I'm not going to write that stuff down either. So far, we worked only with numbers. They support letters too. The char type is the language's most primitive alphabetic type. Char literals are specified with single quotes as opposed to string literals. Character literals use single quotes. It is 4 bytes in size. Represents a Unicode scalar value. Yeah. Characters are Unicode. Isn't Unicode supposed to be capitalized? Yeah. I think Twitch as a whole, since I've been streaming, has had a lot of different eras of problems. This problem has always kind of been there, where I feel like every few months the site will just break completely. And sometimes my stream will go offline. Sometimes I can't start streaming. Sometimes chat doesn't work. Sometimes people can't load my stream, but if they were already in it, it'll still show. Those things have just always happened. But one of the eras that had really bothered me is the chatbot era. Man, that lasted for probably a year where you would have people come in and just start spamming chat, or they would put these image links like, look what this person's doing, and it would be some like image flip dot some random site xyz dot whatever else. They try to make it look legit. Here, Asta. Amazing how, despite all that, YouTube still can't make serious headway. I think Twitch kind of captured the gaming market, but YouTube does have YouTube Gaming. I don't know how popular it is. I also don't know what the culture is there. And I've been debating on whether I should renew my partner contract with Twitch. I have another couple months to decide. And I was thinking of not renewing it. Because I don't really know what being a Twitch partner does for me. I don't really think it does anything. Like, I could still make money as an affiliate, and then I could stream on other platforms. And I don't need a check mark next to my name. So, and it's not like the support's been any better, really. I've pretty much had some things just get totally ignored. Anything else we want here? We'll discuss this topic in detail here. Okay, this is fine. What about all the emotes? I mean, people like my channel hasn't really been a big hub for monetization or for using emotes or anything. If you're a partner, you get a more beneficial cut out of the sub money. You could, yeah. Maybe a short-lived Twitch issue was last year during New Year's. I think I don't know exactly what you're talking about, right, Dev? But I think those sorts of things have happened throughout the years. I think streaming on YouTube or Mixer bring any benefit. You can stream on all of them at the same time. There's a service for that called Restream. I don't think it's a good idea if you have more than like 5 viewers. But yeah, this lets you stream to all the different platforms you want at the same time. Anyway, I'm not sure. Maybe staying as a partner is a good idea, but I don't know if I'm ever going to try to monetize the channel any more than I did in February of this year. That was the only time I really tried monetizing it. I've had subscriptions and cheering open for a while, but I never encourage it, and I don't know if I ever want to encourage it. So compound types can group multiple values into one type. Rust has two primitive compound types, tuples and arrays. Compound types are tuples and arrays. Link to this. So we'll say numbers. Actually, all of this is just integers. And this was characters, yeah. Oh, affiliate doesn't allow it either? Oh, interesting. Okay. So basically, if you're making money through Twitch, you can't be streaming other platforms. Yeah, I didn't know about the affiliate agreement. Yeah, I wonder if I should just cut out monetization of my stream, though. Because like I was saying, if I'm not trying to make money, why allow money? So a tuple is a general way of grouping together a number of values with a variety of types into one compound type. So a tuple can have a variety of types. Yeah, I guess it's worth writing it down. I wonder if arrays are the same. Tuples can have a variety of types in them. Comma separated list of values inside parentheses. Syntax. There we go. Didn't even know that existed. Oh, YouTube Live. Tuples and arrays are very different. All right, yeah, I'll have to find out. Variable binds the entire tuple because the tuple is considered a single compound element. To get individual values, we use pattern matching to destructure a tuple value, like this. Okay. Define a tuple, destructure a tuple. Program first creates a tuple, binds it, then uses a pattern with let to take it and turn it into 3 separate variables. This is called destructuring because it breaks a single tuple into 3 parts. Finally prints it. In addition to destructuring through pattern matching, we can access the tuple element directly by using a period. Oh, this syntax is weird. I'm used to square brackets. Yeah. Alternative creation / access via individual members. Yeah. I see nothing. Got it. I don't think the viewership is really there for programming on Twitch, but I also don't think programmers really need to make a substantial amount of money on Twitch. Most programmers have another gig or some other way of making money, like even freelancing too. Because on Twitch for the last 5 years, I've probably averaged making less than minimum wage. So even if I wasn't a programmer, I'd be making more money just doing literally anything else. Anything. So, but like I said, I never focused on money. I think there are people who always had smaller view counts who had like triple the number of subs. So who knows what that could have been if I had pushed for money. So in addition, we got that. The program creates a tuple x and then makes new variables for each element by using their respective indices. As with most programming languages, the first index is 0. Yeah, it's fine. Compiler won't let you access .3 for a 3-element tuple. Oh, you're saying that there's eventually going to be some sort of square bracket thing that would let you access outside of it? Because I was going to say, this is just a syntax choice, right? The compiler erroring when you try to access -1 or 5 is separate from the syntax of it. Blub, I don't really think they ruined it for programmers by doing that. In general, categories on Twitch that don't have any viewers, they don't get browse traffic. So if you're in a category and you're playing, let's say, some very specific old Nintendo game, and there's somehow a category for it, then cool, you're not gonna get any new viewers basically. But instead, most people will stream in like the retro category where there are viewers for other games, and then people might pop into yours. So I think putting programming into creative or into science and technology was actually probably a good move. And that's why I think the tag system helped too, so that you could actually narrow it down to just programming within that category. Okay, so the array type. That happens more than I'd like for it to happen, which is I try to click this and the header pops up and I click the header. Arrays. Okay, you know what I want to learn right now that I have been not learning and it's been biting me forever is this. When I want to get rid of these bullet points, I just keep hitting backspace like a million times. There has to be a better way to do that, right? Is there not a better way? Shift home? Shift delete? What did I just do? Shift delete. Oh, I'm writing that down. That is very annoying. Shift backspace. Just delete all bullet points in a list without having to press backspace twice for each one. It's not even twice, is it? 1, 2, 3. Well, no, in this case. Yeah. 0th element is a property that's known as compile time, unlike arrays, which are indexed at runtime. By the way, feel free to tag me in messages you want me to read. When I skim chat and I don't see anything with my tag in, I sometimes assume you're talking to somebody else. So I don't actually. I still feel like the syntax of something doesn't need to pertain to its behavior. So we could have made the syntax any of these things, right? Like all of those could have still been exactly the same line of code. What I'm saying is it's weird that they didn't choose square brackets as the syntax, but maybe that's because I don't know about what they're doing for arrays yet, because that's the next section and I hadn't gotten to that yet. So maybe they are, yeah. So it looks like they're using square brackets for something here. And yeah, they use it for accessing array elements. So I guess that's why. And that's probably what you guys were assuming, is that like I might have known what that is. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Nicole, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, this is the part that I hadn't known yet. Yeah, I know we're getting close to the end of the time here. Am I done with the bot game for now? Yeah. And hey, Go. Yeah, so this might actually be a good point to stop. I don't think we can get done with this whole. Maybe we can. Let's try to get done with this whole thing in the next like 5 minutes. Okay. And when I say this whole thing, I just mean the rest of this page. So another way to have a collection of multiple values is with an array. Unlike a tuple, every element must have the same type. Okay, cool. So every array element must have the same type. Arrays in Rust are different from arrays in other languages because arrays in Rust have a fixed length like tuples. Fixed length. Well, you write it that way. Values into an array are written as comma-separated lists inside square brackets. Sounds pretty straightforward. So syntax example. Define an array. Arrays are useful when you want your data allocated on the stack rather than the heap, which we'll discuss. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. I'll just write it though. Arrays are allocated on the stack rather than the heap. Am I revealing what position I'm being interviewed for? It's just some software engineering role. I don't actually know really about the company. I could probably tell you the company name of the companies for today, but sometimes I don't know what they are. So yeah, I will tell you guys more if something comes out of that. How do I pronounce tuple? I say tuple. I think some people might say tuple, but I think that's just wrong. Isn't as flexible as the vector type. Vector is a similar collection type provided by the standard library that is allowed to grow or shrink. So unlike vectors, you say tuple, but you don't live in America. If you're American, let me move the goalposts here. Yeah, so what I always think of is I think of something like quintuple, and I always kind of take from that. That's not how pronunciation works. You can't just say, well, it's this way in a different word. Okay, let's see. An example of when you might want to use an array rather than a vector is parentheses know the names of months. Unlikely they'll need to add or remove months. You could write an array's type by using. Wait, what? You write an array's type by using square brackets, and within the brackets include the type and the number of elements. Okay. Define an array with a specific type / count. Yeah. This word is pronounced GIF. So Rust has GIFs and arrays. Writing an array type this way looks similar to an alternative syntax for initializing. If you want to create an array that contains the same value for each element, you can specify the initial value followed by a semicolon. Define an array with the same value repeated. Same value repeated 5 times. Equivalent to 33333. Accessing array elements. Single chunk of memory allocated on the stack. You can access them using indexing like this. Yep. So access. So we can say something like let first equals age 0. This example, get the value 1. Great. Invalid access. Say you change the example to the following code. We'll compile. So wait, before we do this, let's go test something out really fast. Here we had a tuple and we did something like this. And then we said like let a equals tup.4. And this should fail, but it should fail at compile time, right? But if we did the exact same thing with an array, let's just say that it equals 1, 2, 3. And then we try that out. Except for I need a semicolon. Whoops. Oh, and also the array access has to change. Unused variable A. This operation will panic at runtime. So it knows that here, there's probably a way to get this to mess up I like reading an input and then checking, I guess. Also added the part with the Twitch bot, so you won't rewrite it. Does that not explain it? Oh, that wasn't the command that was supposed to be used. It was a BL command, I think, that was supposed to be used. Yeah, sorry, there you go. Sorry, the bird. I meant to tag you in that too. Oh wait, no, that is the explanation. Yeah, wait, the bird. Did that not clarify what's in the? Because this should also link to a gigantic blog post explaining everything. Yeah, I know it's time. Yeah, yeah, BL and Botland's the same. Yeah, this is a very very long blog post talking about why everything was retired. Can't find blog posts? Does the link open for you? Because I have had people complain about that before, but usually that was when it was an HTTP link and not HTTPS. And now Bitly has them by default HTTPS, which was always just a copy paste problem. Yeah, so check the Bitly link, and then from there, there's the blog post. Okay, it does work? Okay, yeah, yeah. So check that out, the bird. Okay, what happens if you try to access an array element beyond the end of the array? It's compile by exit with an error when it runs. Compilation didn't produce any errors. Yeah, so this is the part that I hadn't done here, which is that it's not going to check these things, but it probably would check for a const, I bet. So this, I'm guessing, will be a runtime error, but... Yes, so that's a runtime error, but I bet this is a compile time error if I change it to this. Is that correct? Oops, drat, I just logged out of... I just accidentally clicked chat and logged out of it somehow. No! Is this a compile time error? Missing type for const item, whoops. U32. Type integer cannot be indexed by U32. Was it an I32? What? What type do I have to use for this? Oh, well, whatever. I also can't read chat anymore. So this is probably a good time for me to stop. Yada is just spinning and then failing to load. It's because I accidentally clicked this button, log out. I don't think I've ever done that. And it's right there, which means if I move my mouse off the monitor just to this point, then I would click it. Well, like I said, it's a pretty good time to just end the stream. We got to, actually, this is the bottom of the docs. So wait, let me read the last paragraph then. Yeah. I wonder if this is only if you don't have release on. They don't mention that. Okie dokie. I'll go find someone to host. Sorry about the weird. I can't even load the channels I'm following here. Well, all right, fine. I don't know. I guess we're not hosting anybody because I can't even see who's online. So that sucks. Let's just try hosting Raimo. If he's online, it'll work. If not, then whatever. It's gonna fail. So yeah, I can read chat over here. Yeah, so this is apparently working. But let me just type out the social links if you guys want to join Discord or anything. I'll be back online tomorrow. We'll probably continue with Rust. And yeah, I have some interviews the rest of today. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. See ya.